Hello, my friends. Welcome. We're back, finally, to episode 14 of Classic Life. We are going to, as we promised, start the Lich King weekly episodes. We took a fat break because of beta. Well, I mean, some of us got beta and some of us didn't for a while, but eventually all four of us got in there, kind of like broken pieces, like one at a time. But we're all in there now. I'll let them explain what they were doing in the beta, but yeah, that's all this one is. Just a nice little episode, just kind of hyping up the beta a little bit, talking about it, asking. I'm going to let them talk. I'm going to be looking at questions. If you guys have any questions about certain classes that are in here, for those that are watching on YouTube, obviously this is live. That's where the questions are coming from. But you can also leave questions in the comments on mine or Sart's channel or Scotty's or Jordy's or whoever posted it. And yeah. So yeah, I got Jordy with me, of course, Sarthe, of course, and then my friend Scotty J. Let's start with Scotty J since he's the legend, the guy carrying all of the classic YouTube on his back. My friend, how are you doing? I'm actually looking this way at you, but you're that way.
Thank you. Bit extreme. Appreciate it, mate. You know, yeah, it's good to be here. I'm never going to say no to you boys, am I?
Fucking love you, dog.
Yeah. It's nice. It's nice to finally be actually talking to you about the expansion I really wanted to talk about, rather than, you know, us having to sit through hours and hours of discussion about TBC when we were. You was into TBC, obviously. I was putting on a fake smile and being like, "Don't worry, my time will come."
I was going to say, how does it come? How does it feel? Like literally all of TBC, you're probably just like sitting there like waiting. You're like, I'm just going to make all of the content and I can cover everything, but just wait until the expansion that I'm like all about.
Yeah, it's weird actually. If I'm completely honest, it's not as exciting as I thought it would be. I'm always honest. You know, if you ask me a question, you're going to get an honest answer. The thing is, it's not real yet. For me, you know, it's just a beta. Like, I'm not taking the beta seriously whatsoever. I took the TBC beta very seriously. You know, leveled multiple characters, was spamming heroics, getting reputations done, and all of that. And I do actually think that ruined Phase 1 quite a lot for me.
Yeah.
And even though I've done it tons of times on RAF, it's just too soon. You know, when you play a RAF private server, you know, you've got a good year before you have to start doing it all again. We've got a good 6 to 8 weeks before we've got to start doing it all again. That's, you know, that's not long. So I'm chilling. I'm really chilling. I'm testing things that people want tested. I'm testing things that I had questions about. Yeah, and outside of that, just enjoying it, you know, and then waiting for the real thing. But it's going to come up, I'd imagine, during our conversation today anyway. But obviously, I'm absolutely hyped for Fresh. Like, Fresh RAF, for me, is just, I could not have asked for a better time to get Fresh. If we got Fresh in TBC, it would have been cool, but we've got Fresh at the time that I really, really wanted it, because it just meant I can just forget about TBC. You know, I know, like, obviously I watch you guys, I jump in on your stream, Geordie. I know I don't talk much, but same with you, Sarthe and Crix. You know, I jump in all your streams, but I don't, you know, I'm not sat there typing away. And I know you guys, you know, you're still raiding every week, multiple times a week on TBC. And hats off to you. But the second I knew there was Fresh RAF servers, I was like, see ya.
Peace.
You're like,
I'm done.
I remember us putting a stink about it, wanting it for TBC. We never got it.
Yeah. But we've got it when I wanted it. You know, I'm glad we got it now instead of TBC.
Me too, to be honest.
Yeah. Also, like Gray's literally when Fresh was announced, he went online and deleted his paladin, which he had just fully geared,
like, immediately.
Yeah.
Oh man, gamer.
So, and one more thing at the end of it, Scotty, what are you playing on the beta? What have you played on the beta? Like, what do you have 80 at? What do you know what I mean?
Well, obviously, my druid's
guess,
80. That's yeah. So, what am I maining in RAF, or what am I maining on the beta?
Both.
Actually, in RAF. All right, so yeah, beta. My druid's 80. My paladin's 76. My rogue is still 70. But believe it or not, I've nearly got as much playtime on my rogue as a 76 paladin. Because of stealth farms. Like, obviously, for any of you that know me, like, yeah, being able to just stealth in dungeons and get herbs and mines as quickly as physically possible. I'm lazy. That's my jam. You know, I'd rather go on for 5 minutes and get a lot of herbs or a lot of mines and then be able to log out and then just do it again, you know, in a couple of hours time or whenever I can be bothered. So I've been doing a lot of that. Yeah, tested a lot of grind spots, but mainly I've been on everything. You know, I've done the DK starting zone. just general testing. But when it comes to actual RAF, probably going to surprise most of you, but I'm going Resto Druid main.
Whoa, I love it. My favorite healer. It's like the most fun healer to me. Good job. What made you do that?
Yeah. So obviously I've been going Feral main forever, but it just it fits really nicely into our officer team. You know, to have like our core officers all holding important roles in the raid team. You know, basically. So I'm going to be the flex healer. So I will be the healer that goes DPS when we drop healers for anything. So I'm going to be, I'll be going quite still fairly seriously Feral, but I will be, rolling main spec sort of resto gear. But yeah, it's purely because of that. And it's going to be something a bit different. You know, I've been playing Feral for, well, I healed original RAF, quite a lot of it, but I'd say I've been Feral for at least 15 years. So it's going to be a nice new challenge. It will keep me interested. I'm just not really looking forward to the awkward pre-patch now. Because it is awkward, isn't it? It's like in the pre-patch where I want to get some gear to help me in dungeons at 80. I'm not bothered about getting any resto gear to help me at 80 because I'm going to want feral gear that's going to actually help me level, if that makes sense. You know, it's just a little bit strange. It's like, whilst I want some resto gear, actually feral gear is more important, but then the second I ding 80, it's like, well, now resto gear is more important. But I'm still going to be going for Dark Moon Car Greatness. Like, I want to be the second. I'm going to be parked outside Dark Moon Fair on day one, preferably second one, as soon as the vendor opens, and I will have Dark Moon Car Greatness, even as a resto main spec. I'll get the Spirit one. Fuck everyone.
Okay, Scotty. Okay, Scotty. Okay, Scotty. Scotty, okay. Okay, Scotty. Scotty, okay. You know what? How I want to does touch on the Omen of Clarity issues, and is that anything to do with this at all, or is it strictly just that officer you're ready to go play resto? And piggyback that off of the feral, the stuff with the feral. Like, you know, I'm hearing all the time the Omen of Clarity is going to ruin feral. I don't think it's going to ruin feral, but I don't know feral, so.
Well, I can tell you from actually now having recount and playing about, you know, the last, well, I'd say probably last half a day, I don't really see that much of an issue with Omen of Clarity at all. Like, there's not that much difference between Warmain and this, other than you can't force procs from things like Fairy Fire.
Oh, so it was just a force proc, so, okay. I thought it was like major down procs.
It's not. And I've actually had people DM me stats who are on the beta, and they've compared, obviously I haven't done this myself, but they've sent me the amount of procs per minute they're getting on the beta to the amount of procs per minute they're getting on Warmain without using Gift of the Wild or without using Fairy Fire or anything like that, and they're pretty much identical. Okay, so cool. I would say it's a non-issue. Yeah,
it was pretty fun using Fairy Fire in the rotation a little bit, spice it up.
Oh, it feels better. It does feel better, but at the same time, for example, when I was with Grays doing a dungeon earlier, I couldn't Fairy Fire when he had his Fairy Fire on as a boomy anyway.
Oh wow,
true, yeah.
So that's another thing that, you know, on private servers you can.
So you wouldn't be able to do it anyway.
On here you can't. Yeah, no. So yeah, exactly. Even if you could proc it from Fairy Fire, you still wouldn't be able to use it. So it's fairly irrelevant.
Yeah, what do you got, a pre-pool gift, and that's it? What are you not doing gifts in the pool, right? That's pretty cool. I didn't know that, so thank you.
Yeah, but you can still get a pre-pull with Omen of Clarity. Just drop a few bits of gear off and use rank 1 healing touch. Yeah, so you can still force a proc.
There you go.
But it's still a bit more of a pain in the ass, don't get me wrong, but you know.
There you go. Thank you, Scotty. That was long because you are never here and we missed your voice. You got the EE voice.
Oh, it's all right, mate. Thank you.
I love it. My friend Sarthe, my brother. Light Skin Gang. The newly married dad, Inc.
Oh my god, dude.
How are you doing, brother?
Tell the world that. I'm doing great, man. I'm obviously, for anyone that missed earlier, I'm moving in with the girlfriend. So right after this podcast, I'm packing up all of my computer and heading over there. I'm doing great, man. The beta is so fun. I love that we have recount. Beforehand, I would literally check logs after every single dungeon, and I've just been going through logs like crazy because that's like my favorite thing. Interesting. I'm really excited to see how it feels like really good players for every class can make a major difference on overall damage. Like having a really good player, or just the way people play each class, makes a just massive difference on overall damage. So it's been really fun, and it's going to be, that really like leads me to think like more so than even on Warmane and such. I think the better players will really shine as we look towards overall damage versus like single target damage. I think the really good players will really shine, and I'm hyped, man. I'm just sitting over here getting hyped playing DK and Hunter right now in the beta. That's
what I was just trying to ask you. What are you playing and how much you liking it?
Yeah, I'm going ham with DK. I love DK. It's one of my favorite classes. My OG classes throughout all of Classic have always been, or throughout all of World of Warcraft have always been Rogue, Paladin, and Death Knight. So now I'm just rocking Death Knight and Hunter on the beta, because I did Hunter all of TBC and I wanted to test everything, and I probably will still have a Hunter in Wrath. It just won't be my main as I move towards Death Knight and Rogue, and then Paladin as my main alt.
So sad, just putting that away.
It's still
end of an era.
The damage, dude. Oh, the AoE damage on Hunters. I think I've been theory crafting specs for Hunters, and I think all of the, not all of, but like you're gonna change your specs for anything like a speed run situation, or like overall for like normal raids. You're actually gonna change your specs quite a bit from what is the ideal single target DPS specs, because you can pump out quite a bit of damage. So it's been a really fun theory crafting and then going in and testing things.
I'm intrigued. So when you say like what in what way, when you say change specs, do you mean completely, or you just mean a slightly different survival spec?
Yeah,
or do you mean going marksman?
Slightly different. So for Nax, I really would say, and I guess my volume's still a little low, but for Nax, I think, and I've been talking to a lot of hunters from private servers and stuff, and like scripting for explosive trap was a little bit interesting, and it was like stronger on some servers than others. And it looks, the power you can get from marksman is actually pretty crazy. But in general, it's really focusing on that AoE damage. So like getting talents that increase obviously explosive trap damage. So as a marksman, you're also going to be now probably going into survival to get those trap damages. And then also from there, looking at as survival, trying to get into volley damage as well. So I'm not actually, I haven't even calculated survival even being possible to reach the volley damage. We'll look. I'll have to look in. But it's really, yeah, the AoE damage, if you can boost your AoE damage, you're seeing crazy numbers. And so far at low level dungeons, because obviously you have Sunwell gear and like you can run marksman and you're crazy powerful. But at low level dungeons, the only person I've seen do more than what I've gotten to now with theory crafting specs has been like insanely good warlocks. Like only like 2 or 3 warlocks I've played with so far, and those are like warlocks from like Crix would know all of them, like warlocks from like Progress or something, right? That have been able to output more damage on overall. But like even with crazy, like I've pulled so far on the logs, my highest DPS was 22k DPS on the logs on one pull, but like single target, I'm still around like 3 to 3.6k on single target, which is nice. It's just, that was a huge fucking pull. Excuse my language. That was a huge pull.
Yeah, piggybacking off of that is I just did a bunch of heroics with the same people, the same me and Hunter and a mage, and he was a marksman, equally geared, all 80 heroic geared. I'm in Sunwell gear a little bit, so, and which is not as good as heroic gear. I've been passing on my heroic gear to Jordy and healers because I love them. This is with another.
Yeah, right.
What? But look at his damage. Look at his damage. Look.
Yeah, look.
It's volley. His second highest damage should absolutely be explosive trap.
Yeah,
and
that's
it
what
should be almost as high
exactly
as
what I was saying. So this is one of the, I've seen every class in heroic so far, it feels like. And obviously some people are going a little harder. Some people, people are learning the game. A lot of people don't know what they're doing because, they're just new to the game. And we have not seen a hunter yet. We've seen like one hunter and he was just doo-doo. I was like triple him. So this is the first time that we saw a pumper hunter and he was absolutely doing amazing. And it's the first time we saw him. So we're really happy to see that. But I was thinking the same thing. Shouldn't he be explosioning up top more?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I was wondering. We were in Halls of Stone and Halls of Lightning, which are both not the most AoE dungeons. Those are actually more of like I feel like they got the giants, a lot of good single target stuff in there. So
yeah, but still then, right? Like if volley is your number 1 DPS, which it will be an overall in like Nax for sure. Nax has huge pulls, right? Explosive trap is on average right now, from what I'm seeing, on average, it's around 40%, like volleys, like 60%, explosive 40%. And those two are by far throughout an overall your highest DPS. Like, it's crazy. They are so much stronger. And you can see it there, right? How volley is so much more of his damage. He would be a lot higher overall. He would be a lot higher.
This is a single target boss. This is straight single target.
What a huge change from TBC. It's
right?
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
it's
actually
such
crazy.
A different profile.
For people that don't know Hunter, that don't know they have AoE, every time that there's a Hunter, they'll come in and be like, whoa, was that a Hunter? Like, how is he doing so much AoE? I'm like, yo, they got volley. They're like, volleys of real AoE? Like, it's like, whatever made Blizzard think to do that just made everything so much better. It was nice.
It's the same with Boomy, though, isn't it? Let's face it, when you see a Boomy absolutely destroying like their AoE, especially in phase 1, it does taper off a bit. They still stay strong, don't get me wrong, but they, like in phase 1 in particular, because they just don't need that much gear. They're absolutely fucking broken.
Yeah, I got a lot of logs with me and Gray's been playing a lot together. This is over maybe 7 dungeons. He's Boomy, he's Frost, really and I'm Affliction Destro. I'm going back and forth through all my specs testing stuff, so I wasn't pure AoE the whole time. But yeah, and then look at his it's Hurricane, Starfall. What I was saying earlier was Boomy's one of those things where it's like Starfall and Hurricane carry pretty hard, right? So you can get a lot of big burst damage, right, on a big pack, but then you're not doing much on single target, or you do if you get your crit, right? I feel I can't. He's typically not template anymore because he has heroic gear on him. Passed all the gear to him the first 2 days we did it. And heroic gear is better than Sunwell gear for the most part, except for a couple pieces. I'm in full Sunwell gear, but when I hit 80, I was in full Sunwell gear. I hadn't replaced anything, and then I first replaced my rings, and then 2 heroics later, heroic gear started dropping. That was better than my Sunwell gear. But we had a priest in there who was a boost, and he was literally in green gear, so I passed it all. And then, but right now, if I didn't pass gear, I would be completely out of my Sunwell gear. But this Warlock doesn't have. I have Amos and legs, and I don't have it on the because I got it after beta. So technically, I would still have those. But I would have even the weapon. I would have placed everything. I've already placed it all. And so Boomy's fucking. And Frost is like,
it's broken still.
Frost is like the most surprising thing ever to me.
It's so like literally the amount of damage Frost is gonna get. We're gonna get from Howling Blast, like free Howling Blast.
More.
Our procs don't reset Howling Blast right now. So it should reset the CD and make it free. So it's instant free, which is obviously extra single target DPS, but that's not really not large. It is huge on overall DPS throughout a dungeon. Yeah. Huge. And it's still, I'm surprised they didn't fix that because at first Frost was missing out. Death runes weren't working. They were only working as blood runes. And now death runes are actually working with the glyph or with talents as like one rune can
they're
use
weird.
All 3 runes.
Yeah,
it's like definitely broken also in a kind of better way for people that glyph or spec into it, but you probably shouldn't. Like, it's kind of cheaty, but yeah, it's broken. It can be stronger. It's crazy.
Is your DK 80, Sarthe?
I'm 75 right now. I can 75. Get to 80 in like 2. I'll probably do it next week because I figured I'll finally have time and not be moving. So I'll catch up.
I was just wondering what the Frost DKs are actually going. If they're going, obviously Frost, but are they going sub Blood or sub Unholy? Because I'd be intrigued to see how that plays out. Because I've always preferred sub Unholy.
Agreed. And I think
for Blood Cake Blades,
the better. I think the better spec is going to be the sub Unholy also. Just because, again, like the general idea, the change in mentality from general private servers, usually you're focused only on looking at your single target DPS or like boss DPS, right? And there's some fights that are multiple targets, but generally classic players have a tendency to focus on overall, although a lot of people do love to focus just on bosses, and it's really fun. Hi, wifey. And so it is, I think the Unholy subset is gonna beat out. Definitely, and I like it on single target as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I always preferred it. I mean, it's base. No, like there's no doubt about it. Come sort of late tier 9, early tier 10.
Yeah.
But it's just that initial gearing phase where most private server players say Blood is better because obviously it really goes well with what's it called? Unbreakable armor? No, Unbreakable armor. Is that the right one? Your cooldown, where it actually scales from your armor.
Yeah.
So
bladed armor, yeah. It
Yeah.
it is really nice.
Is that
do you
broken
need to
still?
do
I think
anything?
I heard bladed armor was broken.
Fine.
You know, I'm
Well,
gonna
as
yeah,
in, it's
do
not
that.
actually giving you attack power.
Yeah.
I didn't
Maybe
look
I'm
into
wrong.
Okay.
I don't know.
it. Yeah. But I think Frost is really
There's no bugs on the
How do
beta.
you?
I think it's gonna shine so much harder than people are
Armor to the teeth is
anticipating
broken. All right.
if we move fast.
Sorry about that. Okay, everyone left right now. What did I miss? We had a good stopping point to go on the Jordy that I forgot to introduce.
Definitely a good spot.
It wasn't a forgot to introduce you. We're just vibing. I haven't heard
Hi, I'm Jordy.
everybody
How's it
talk.
going?
So yeah, Jordy, I love you. How are you doing? What are you playing? Go. This is your beautiful VOD in the background, pumping major best in slot priest healing. Talk about priest too, please.
Yeah, I've been doing the priest a lot. I started a DK a couple days ago. Things are good. I'm been pumping heroics like crazy. I'm pretty much pre-bis at this point. Testing holy, testing disc, doing all the achievements and shit. I've been pushing out a lot of those achievement videos lately.
Yeah, let me shout those out.
Which have been fun. And yeah, the last few days have been a lot of Sunwell. So we have a speed run Monday and Tuesday, which could go amazingly or it could go awfully, but either way, it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
And yeah, things are good. Excited to get pre-patch soon so that we can ignore parses for a month and just get our DKs geared up and then push in the Wrath. It's been kind of. I'm not ignoring parses. I'm parsing. You're so
nice.
geared at this point. You should be parsing
nice.
too. I don't know what you're talking. Oh, I guess we don't have a boomie.
What the fuck
right
you
now.
mean?
It's
Well, we
kinda
don't even got an Ellie. We ain't got nothing.
Yeah,
no
yeah,
Ellie,
yeah.
no AF, no boomie.
That wasn't my
decision.
decision. Don't yell at me. I didn't do that.
I was just saying earlier, if you gave me double lusted with my gear, it's fucking bananas. It would be
The
crazy.
speedrun
bro. It'd be
warlocks
fucking-
yesterday were like, dude, the amount of damage we're doing because we are bringing an Ellie and a boomie to the
Yeah, it's
speedrun.
fucking crazy.
Oh yeah.
So it's crazy. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I never played Wrath, so it's kind of all new to me. There's a lot of like knowledge in the back half of the game, especially that I just like have no idea. And so it's just been a lot of discovery and enjoying the content. And it definitely feels like with the way that I play the game, there is a lot of min-maxing happening on live, but for the beta, I can kind of just have fun and play it like an actual game. Which is enjoyable. I can be like, what's over here? I don't have to be like, I gotta get my gold on. I gotta get my gold on. I don't have to be like, so yeah, I'm really enjoying the beta. And yeah, it's been kind of a problem because I should be focusing on the speed run and I've been definitely distracted. So I got to figure out how to do both. And
I think you've done Sunwell a handful of times, huh?
I've done it a couple times.
You'll be okay.
Yeah. No, the Sunwell's really held up really well. I think everyone was really dooming about Sunwell speedruns, and they turn out to be some of the most fun set of bosses. I mean, watching Sarthe and Salbaker's wipe every week to twins has just been the best, and
so entertaining, right?
It's so entertaining. And everyone else, like you know, like people are wiping on Muru, people are wiping on like random shit, and like that's super fun. And it kind of harkens back to phase 2 when we would do the Vosh poll and get that extra trash back in and be like, are they going to wipe Vosh poll like get that extra because these are not necessarily easy strategies to pull off when done at speed. And so it's really fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can pull off on Monday and Tuesday, and to see where the times go, because I kind of feel like we're nearing a limit where Space Force in progress, like Space Force had a second run, right? And it was a second behind their first run.
They could have gone faster.
They could have, but but like
you're
never going to get that perfect run, right? And so like you're kind of at that point where the times are at there. I mean, we're supposed to talk about Wrath, and I'm now into Sunwell again, but
go ahead. Classic life.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and yeah, things are good.
There we go.
Enjoying it.
I love it.
Excited to meet Scotty. I've never met Scotty. I'm excited.
Well,
yeah,
Jordy, and I've got a question. So you said you was playing with Disc and Holy, like you've been, playing about with both. What do you prefer? Not output wise, not forget meters. Like, what do you find the most fun?
Holy is more fun.
Yes. That was it. That's it. No, end it there. End it there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Holy
Can we stop the
Why
podcast?
is it more fun?
So Holy is more fun because you have you're juggling a couple more things at once, and when you do it correctly, it really feels like your output is insane. Disc has the benefit of being a different type of healing profile than the other healers have, and I think Holy has a more similar healing profile than the other healers, and so that's where I think Disc really comes in, is because it's doing something the other ones aren't, and so that's why it's so good. But in a 5-man, Holy probably is better. I'm finding it a lot of fun to just like flash greater, flash greater, and just keep palms rolling and renews, and it's really fun. And Guardian Spirit's really fun, and just like, I mean, honestly, Body and Soul is a really interesting speedrun talent. It's that when you put a powered shield on someone, they get a movement speed boost for 4 seconds, and like, is that going to be a thing? Who knows? Like, there's a lot of little
too.
Yeah, there's a lot of little things like that you like. I know, healing fun, Keck W, but it's like it's fun, and at the beginning of an expansion, when the gear is the worst, healing is the hardest, and so that's been a lot of fun doing the heroics, which are still pretty phase roll, but yeah.
See, I agree. Like me personally, so on my priest on numerous private servers, I never play Shadow. I mean, when I say never, I've played Shadow a little bit. Don't get me wrong, but normally I've got a Disc priest, and it's off specs Holy or vice versa. And Holy in 5-mans is just amazing. Like, and 10-mans as well, which like in Nax you'll see there's just not enough damage going around, for Disc to shine. So, you want, but when you get in 25-man and, you're waiting for a big AoE to come in and you pre-bubble everyone and you're like sat there underneath the Blood Death Knight's tanks healing, and then that damage comes in and then you're number 1. It does feel pretty good. But it's like I think Holy Priest is going to be one of those ones that's slept on, because, everybody thinks that the meta from private servers is 2 Holy Paladins, 1 Disc Priest. That's going to be how you do 25-mans.
Yeah, we have.
I think Holy Priest is going to be the way.
There's one guy in our guild who's like on a tirade about Holy being good, and I think everybody's got a friend like that. And I know, but we'll see. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of testing, and we're gonna be agile about it, hopefully, and not stick to what we think the meta is, and try to be meta shifters. So
yeah,
definitely.
I'm sure once raid testing comes out, which I don't know when it's going to come out, I assume that majority, all of us will have cleared the raid. The beautiful Nax. I know you guys have never seen it before. It's so cool. A lot of cool undead shit in there. Clear as both.
Have you noticed Nax is bigger on the inside? That's a really small
magic.
Necropolis, dude.
Is it
it's
Necropolis?
Like
magic.
Yeah, it is a floating necropolis. But it's like a Harry Potter, like when they go into the tent at the Quidditch World Cup. It's gigantic. That's what it is.
Was that shit floating in a classic, right? You had to pour it up there.
Nax?
No. It wasn't floating?
Was it?
Oh, no, it was above plague. It was above plague.
I don't know where it was. I just don't remember
flying
in
there.
Would you teleport?
What do you mean no?
Oh yeah, there's a teleport. Yeah. Okay.
No, you could get on top of it. I mean, technically,
floating
you
in
could get on top of the portal. I never looked up. Actually, I feel like it was all the way up there.
It was above there.
My excuse is I didn't play classic. I don't know what Sarthe at right now.
I'm looking forward to like more than speed runs. I'm looking for minimal runs. So, obviously doing like 8-man in Nax is an achievement.
Is it?
I'm looking forward to seeing people
20-mans,
do like 5-man Nax. Which I do think that will happen.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Definitely.
It's called the Dedicated Few. I think the name of the achievement is, which is to 8-man it.
Okay.
Or the Dedicated Few might be 18-man in it or 20-man in it. There's 2 of them. Obviously, there's one to.
I'm right there. Yeah, the Dedicated Few for the 10-man.
And 20.
So that's
25
8 already.
And the 25.
So that should be obviously 8-man should be doable in reasonable gear, not like full tier 7 bis. So you'd imagine in full tier 7 bis, you'll see people 5-man in Nax, I reckon.
Yeah.
It'll be cool to see.
I'm curious what they're going to do. They said that they're going to make it harder or more challenging. If it's just like a HP buff, I think that's...
They said HP and damage.
And damage, yeah.
So we'll see. If I kind of hope... I was hoping that they were going to add mechanics into the Somnax, and that would be a preview into new mechanics in the Wrath Nax, but it doesn't seem like that's what they're doing. They're just doing random world buff-esque things, which is kind of a bummer. But with the achievements and stuff, I think there's going to be some depth there. Not a ton, but hopefully enough to keep you entertained until the war at least.
Yeah.
Don't forget Onyxia. We got to go back to Onyxia too. So
don't forget Malagos, super hard boss.
Super irritating boss for people who can't press keys on their keyboard.
That's true.
Yeah, honestly, the one thing I complain about, so I love Wrath. It literally, it's number one, if not joint number one. There is another expansion that's very close to it, but they went over the top with vehicles. It don't matter what fucking zone you go in. When you go in a zone questing, it's like, here, mount this horse, or go and get this horse and bring it back, or fly this dragon, or control this fucking construct. You know, everything you go in, it's like, I like, it could be me being a little bitch, but I'm like, that's not what I play again. I want to play my character. I don't want to play as a fucking bear. I play a druid. It's a really bad comparison. But, you know, you do. You play as something else, and it's like
motorcycle.
They really laid it on thick. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, doing Flame Leviathan in Ulduar, but I've noticed it more on the beta than anywhere else, because you know, when you're playing on private servers and you've got like ×7 or ×8 or whatever XP, you only do like the first 10, 15 quests in a zone, and you move to the next one. You do those. Next one, do those. Do Amphitheater of Anguish, get that done, like maybe one dungeon, you're 80. You know, you skip so much. But this time round, actually doing it the hard way, unlike ×1 on the beta and having to read the quests and go around, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of like mounted and just controlling combat that it's just unnecessary. Especially
I'm having
a
blast leveling. With this, I've actually had way more fun leveling with no add-ons and reading than I have like in a long time.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's because I've never done it. You have time. It
was a lot of fun.
Times whatever. You have nothing. I'm using. It reminded me of just being old school alt tabbing and looking at stuff or something like that. That's what it reminded me of.
It was a lot of fun reading quests for the first time around and like not having a choice. I didn't like look up anything. I just was like, all right, if I can't figure it out, I'm doing another quest, and that's what it is. Now that I have Questy though, it's just so fast. You're just zooming, and it's like, holy fuck.
That's what I kept saying. Thoughtbot. Every time someone says, "What guide are you using?" I suppose my 1945 Thoughtbot guide or something like that, dude.
I don't think there's a wrong way to like. I don't think that Questy's wrong. I don't think, you know, like not using Questy is wrong.
I mean, not using RXP is pretty wrong.
It's all fun. Exactly.
Not using Rested XP, the best guide in the world, is kind of wrong. Choose your favorite streamer and go.
Use code Crix5s for 5% off.
Yeah, Questy, I'm excited. I leveled a Warlock first, Alliance, and then I leveled a Shadow Priest who's 78, almost 79 right now, behind us doing dungeons, which is the most surprising class I've seen so far after doing dungeons on the Shadow Priest, because it actually does very good damage. I can't wait to do heroics though and find out, you know?
Yeah.
But and I leveled so one was Alliance, one was Horde. So they don't have the same zones, that obviously, as you can imagine. So the first time on my Warlock was so confusing because I'm like reading word by word. I'm getting tilted if I miss one quest, and then the priest was like the same thing. And so I'm very excited for this Elemental Shaman. I'm gonna start leveling. I'm gonna use RXP the whole way. I'm not gonna look at anything but the blue arrow. I'm so hyped.
Yeah,
that makes life easy.
I did. My Death Knight is on Alliance, and I haven't done Wrath on Alliance ever. So that's the same situation, right? Like you run somewhere where you think the quest is, and then like you read like the one word you missed over, and it's like, actually you have to grab this right next to me before going there. And you're like, oh my god.
And I think we have it worse, you know. Well, you boys stream a lot more than I do, but so I'd say you have it worse. But when you're trying to talk to chat and you're trying to navigate your way around somewhere that you haven't done for years or you don't know inside out. I find it really stressful. Bearing in mind, like I've done RAF so many times, I went in cocky as shit, thinking I know every quest. I don't need the in-game quest helper. I don't need add-ons. And then I realised, wait, actually, I've only done 10 quests in each zone over the last, so then it gets really bad. And I'm like trying to read chat, and then I'm partially trying to scan through a quest. And like you say, you miss one word and you've gone to the complete wrong place.
Yeah.
I didn't realise how much I relied on that in-game, well, not even in-game quest helper, but just any quest assistance. I didn't realise how much I relied on it until the beta started, if I'm honest.
Yeah, same. It's such a trip, and it's so weird. And always someone's like, it's over this way, and you believe them, but that person was wrong, and like 10 people say one direction, and one person says the right one, and you're like, oh my god.
Go ahead, sorry.
So that's why I've been dungeon leveling. Also, I just like seeing the numbers and comparing numbers on logs, obviously.
You've been deep in the math mines. Sorry.
Yeah, very much.
I have a select few over from the private server days, like 6 of them that are just VIP'd, and they're the ones that I trust when they say something in chat. So when I'm lost, Twitch chat carries me the whole time I'm leveling. But there's always those 4 or 5 guys that I know that they're not bullshitting me. You know what I mean? That's the guys that I can trust. But I've had a lot of fun. It's good. I've actually it gives me, the leveling gives you more, especially as a streamer. I don't know about you guys, but you kind of run out of shit to talk about. I like to talk nonstop, so I always like that. Doing this kind of stuff, this is like perfect for me because one, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not open world questing any of my characters, right? Because I'm on benediction. That's just not going to happen. So,
yeah.
Might as well do it now. Have fun with it, right?
That's true.
Yeah. So what about the things that have been broke? Have you noticed much? Like, obviously there was an update the other day. I've not seen anyone talk about it, and none of you have mentioned it while we've been chatting either. Like, they have implemented systems that just flat out don't work.
Which ones so far? I've still got some class bugs, but like that mana bug.
No,
Jesus.
I mean systems, full-on systems that are there that don't work, like the talent preview.
That works now. Yeah, that fixed that. That works now. Yeah,
they fixed that.
Fixed.
Okay,
yeah.
Because that was only updated yesterday.
Fixed.
I've not looked at it since.
Yeah, that was fixed. Obviously, the barbershop was from your phenomenal video you did. Shout out. And then yesterday, the equipment manager stuff is in. It works.
Equipment manager got added. Yeah, well, that was the same time, wasn't it? It was the talent preview and the equipment manager both got added at the same time. But the talent preview thing didn't work at all when I tested it.
Oh, maybe that's what they did yesterday.
What's equipment manager? Is that an in-game thing?
It's like
item rack.
You have it still on TBC, don't you? Or is that only Lich King?
No.
Oh, it's private servers using it. Okay, yeah, it's like it lets you do gear sets and stuff and make a button. You can make a gear set and put the button down and swap and stuff like that. Kind of.
Is that in game right now?
Yeah. So it's like gear equipper or whatever that add-on's called. You have to go escape to interface and go to features and check mark it so you can give you permission to use it, and then you press C and you'll see a little icon above your glove, right above your gloves.
It's still weird how they've gone so old school and added it as a feature in the menu rather than just having that on. It's why would you have it turned off ever?
Yeah.
Okay, so I hear your point. However, part of what makes Classic so great is that it's not streamlined, right? And so for the player that wants that authentic experience, they can turn shit off, and I kind of like that that's an option. Like them not having the quest helper or them not having this or stuff like that. If that's the way you want to play, the option is there, and I think I think it's valid instead of just like
I get that, but if it's on, you still don't need to use it.
It's a button above the gloves. Just don't click the button.
Yeah.
You don't need it. What?
Okay. Like, you don't need to add sets. It can be on by default. And you
like
never
30
need to
people
use
have asked me how to use it since they put it on yesterday, and it would be it'd be less confusing, and more people would use it if they would just put it in there like stock.
Right, I want to know why he's simping for Blizzard. What have they given you?
I wasn't in an early enough beta wave, so I'm trying to get in the earlier one next time.
You trying to get that alpha, that Dragonflight alpha, bud?
Yeah.
Man, I love it.
But no, I do agree though. I do agree that where they're torn, but I'm going to say the same thing about Random Dungeon Finder. Like, I say it as it is. Like I don't care who I upset. You know, like Random Dungeon Finder, I don't give a shit about the people that are against Random Dungeon Finder being in the game. It can be put in the game. That doesn't mean you have to use it. You know, anything that people want but is optional and gives no player power. Like, that's the main thing. Random Dungeon Finder, as long as it doesn't reward extra emblems or extra rep or anything like that, those sort of things, while most people will use it, and let's face it, if you didn't want it and then you use it, you're a hypocrite. If it, you know, it's as simple as that. You know, if you're saying, no, I don't want it, but then they put it in the game and you're like, oh my God, but because it's there, I have to use it now. It's like, well, you weren't that bothered about making a group then, was you? Well, you know, it's those things where it's optional.
Devil's
I
advocate
like optional things.
on this one again. Like, if that's where the players go, though, then there's no one to draw from to do the group the way that you want to do it, right? Like, that's where they go. They don't even bother because they know that no one's out there just trying to form a group naturally. You know what I mean?
Everybody presses I and looks for a group versus, you know, having to open up. No one's going to go /4 looking for a group because no one's going to be posting there because they're all using eyes.
And so like because you can't do it yourself. Like, if it was just like the item rack thing, I'll give you that one. But for the Random Dungeon Finder, it's like you need 4 other people, and if that's where the people are, they're not going to be where you need them to be in order to form that group naturally, and in order to have those conversations.
But if there's that many people that don't want Random Dungeon Finder, you shouldn't have a problem finding your own group.
I don't think a problem is that I don't think the argument is that it's easy to use. I think, or not easier. It's just they know it is. I think people just liked having to find their own groups. I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
versus having it be so convenient. You know what I mean?
I think it's one of those things where the developer needs to protect the player from themselves, and we're going to take the path of least resistance, even if it's not fun. And so like that, I think part of the goal of the removing the Random Dungeon Finder, which I mean, it sounds like they're going to put back in later, right? If I read that right?
No, apparently.
Well, they're not.
Okay. No.
Well, then I think that's like I like that they're doing that, and I know that I'm gonna get flamed for it, but I want this game to be different than retail. Like, I want there to be design foundational differences between the two games, because one feels like classic and one feels like retail, and the more retail stuff that they add, like eventually the raid finder and stuff like that, it's just going to water down the game until it's retail again. And so it's like, Random Dungeon Finder pushes players towards the jump into a dungeon, clear it, don't say a word to each other, and then you're out. And I think that.
But is that not pretty much what we do now anyway?
Yeah,
I don't agree. That's not my experience.
But on the beta, right? But like, imagine on Live Realms, we have the exact same thing with like a bulletin board, right? I'm curious what you think about that, right? Because like late game, you don't think about putting together a group, or within the first few months of the expansion, always it's so lively. You're talking to people, you're putting together groups yourselves. It's super easy. But later, it's very, very hard to find a group. Or if you find a group, it's going to be like, by the way, this is res. We only want meta classes. What's your gear score? I think it can work negatively. I think early on it's fine. But I'm curious what your guys' experience have been on the beta, because now that more people are on the beta, it's crazy. The LFG chat now is, or at least last night, was all just like memes or talking about random things. It was hard to find people to come to a group. And I think we live in like a nice world where as a streamer, I can just be like, well, I need a group for this, and I need like full tier 6 or like fully Sunwell geared people to run this, and who's really good so I can test things. And like in a minute, I'll have a full group, right? But like most people don't have that experience, and it can take them a lot longer to put together the group. I'm curious because I think by the time everyone is on the same realm, looking for group chat fully becomes boost. It's gonna just be, you won't be able to see anything at all. It's gonna be hard.
Okay.
Well, I just want to say, just before, obviously, Geordie, I know you want to say something, but I want to say I do agree with Geordie 100%. As in, I agree with, it's more about you've got to, as a developer or as Blizzard, they need to know what the angle is that they're going in and protecting them foundations that they're setting in place. So if they're about the community and stuff, they they can't control us. They can't control how we then start doing things, but they can go, well, this would be better for the game's longevity by forcing them to actually talk to each other, forcing them to, well, not forcing, but you know what I mean, as in by doing that. But it is also a very, very different time. This is not a new game. It is recycled at the end of the day. So where I would stand is actually giving rewards to people who do. So say, Geordie, like, you want to make a group. You know, you don't want to use the random dungeon finder. You don't like it. You know, you want to make a group. It should actually be you and your group that get the 2 bonus emblems for making the group. So, you know, you're not incentivizing the laziness of someone like me who will just queue, because I can't be bothered to talk to anyone. I just want to queue. You know, I might get in quicker than you, but you might actually get in quicker because more people are wanting to do what you want to do because they know they're going to get 2 bonus emblems. So you can have both systems working simultaneously, where you're pleasing everyone, because there are a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, that are not going to play Wrath Classic because it hasn't got random dungeon finder. Like, that people are that fickle,
which
where they're like, well, I'll go and play Warmate,
which is mind blowing to me. No,
really.
This LFD, they had the random dungeon fighter. The only thing that is dope about that thing, the only thing that I missed coming from I don't know how long a private service, and I've been 16 hours a day on the beta, the only thing I missed was fucking teleporting. The LFD thing they have right now is fucking fantastic, and there's nothing wrong with it. They can leave it as it is right now and launch with that, and I would be happy. I like this. I wish we could teleport, right? That's kind of cool. I really wish we could teleport. That's kind of cool, and save me from running to get my daily and turning it in.
But don't you just think it's LFG bulletin board, Crix? It's exactly
it's
the
literally
same thing.
100%, right?
What?
You're social, Crix, right?
No.
There's a lot of people.
All I do is press I, list myself, and then you literally just right click, and then they invite you. That's so easy. It's like mind blowing. I've never had one trouble getting a group, except unless it's like the dead server and you really can't.
I'm with you. I like it, but I also liked on non-Blizzard realms where you had this ability to just like, I was bored, I wanted to like log in and just do something in game, and like even if it was getting emblems, which wasn't really helping me, right, or something, but I could just like go do some dailies, queue up for a dungeon, do one dungeon, and then be off the game without having to really do much. Like, the dungeons, realistically, they're super easy, right? So I'm very hopeful for them to like add whatever challenges they mentioned and whatever we see that happening, right? So I think the idea, or the thing, a thing that a lot of people did like, is just the idea of being able to do other things, and your group just like comes together, and like it's just something like, I don't know, maybe this is a bad way of putting it, but it just seemed like a fun way to like log on, do something, and then log off. Like,
and like you say, when it's such easy
that.
content, when it's such easy content, you know, do you want to spend 20 minutes getting a group together, or 20 minutes of whispering saying, "Can I join?" And they're like, "No, sorry, you're a feral," you know, or whatever. Like, spending all that time trying to get in a group for something that's going to take 10 minutes because it's so easy anyway. But I'm going to go for a piss. But I just want to ask one question then. So let's say we, like, you know, forget random dungeon finder as in for heroics. Should it be in for 1 to 70 or 15 to 70? You know, like so when you're leveling your alts with your mates, and on a Friday night there's a few of you together, you know, queuing for random dungeons when you're running around questing, because that is very different. That's not, you can't even, random dungeon finder from 15 to 70, you can't even compare to random dungeon finder for
so
heroics.
Convenient, it sounds like, to be honest. Trying to find dungeons in lower group, I didn't like doing when I'm leveling.
Fuck that, dude. No way.
Just get ported
like,
where I'm going.
the world disappears if you have random dungeon finder. The entire game that they built, this world that we inhabit, this beautiful Azeroth place that they built, becomes the portal that you appear in, the dungeon, and then the next one. And there's no you're not living in the game. Like, you're like we're playing an MMO that it should be a persistent world, and if whenever you're able to just zip around the world, you lose that persistence. I feel like that's why I'm playing this MMO, is I'm in this world with these people, and when it becomes just like it becomes a Call of Duty lobby, and you're just, and it's not the game that I want to play, at least. And
I must play on the wrong server, because you sound like you're on a server where you can actually get a group for stockades.
Oh man!
Or for dead mines, or for Scarlet.
We're on probably the best server to get it.
I'm not saying that I'm definitely hearkening back to the time of leveling on Classic or leveling in TBC when we were doing all this stuff together as a group, and it was like, I'm gonna go conquer this area and then this area and this area, and I get that the game, as everybody's attention focuses more on raids and that content gets pushed behind. I understand that, but like, I just don't. I think that the more that you cater away from that experience, that the game just loses so much of what makes it feel unique and what makes it feel like this world that they built. And I don't know. I understand that like the meta evolves, and like maybe as we're towards the end of Wrath, like Sarthe, I'll give it to you, like maybe they put random dungeon finder in them because there's very few people actually queuing for these things and it's easier for them to find each other, and I get that, but like, I don't know.
So what if
we haven't
so
played?
go
on, Scotty.
Sorry, mate. No, honestly, go on. You go. I'm gonna go for a piss, but I am still listening.
We haven't had a lively game ever since boosting, right? So like we haven't had a live open world ever since boosting, which is I'm really excited that they're planning to deal with boosting. And there's still, don't get me wrong, the way people play the game, there's going to be other ways of doing boosting. I think they're going to have to literally add in that you can't get experience in a group if someone in the group has experience turned off, because if not, you're just going to have like level 60 boosters doing boost, level 70 boosters doing boost. Like they're just going to be locked at that level so that you don't have experience breakoffs, right? Like people are going to do boosting currently the same way they have always, unless you change the fact that
I think you should,
if they're higher level. Yeah, so that's fine.
I think protect us from ourselves, protect us from the 100%. Boosters, like all of that stuff.
Yeah, but I'm just saying we haven't had an open world experience in a long time. And I think what, from Scotty's point of view also, is when you're leveling 1 to 70, just currently, right? Like maybe within the first few weeks, people are not leveling. Like I think they should leave it on or leave it out actually even for a while, but later on, most people aren't like, if they are leveling, it's a very antisocial situation where the random dungeon finder actually did add a realm of meeting people, and you'd run into them a few times in different dungeons. You would run multiple dungeons with them. There was this social aspect that we really have lost in the open world, especially as we got flying or boosting, all of that, right? We've really lost this social aspect anywhere outside of level 70 and raiding. And I think they have to, yes, protect us from ourselves and force us to enjoy the game, enjoy the world. And
do you guys talk to people in your game? I'm social as fuck. I talk to people. People talk back. Are you guys going out of your way to talk to random people? I know you're not.
Don't. We half stone away from you.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's
as soon as we see you, we all.
I'm over here. I talk to everybody in the world. It's a social game if you make it a social game, but a lot of people don't make it a social game. They're just like, in a nutshell, playing it, doing whatever they want to do. You know what I mean?
The thing is, it's more of the beast of necessity, as in you try and go and get a group tonight at level 60 for Ramparts, and then week 1 of Wrath or week 1 of pre-patch, go and try and find a group for Ramparts. You'll have no problem. Like pre-patch, you'll have no problem getting a group for Ramparts. You'll be with 4 DKs. But yeah, you know, you will get a group. But try and get a group now. You won't. And the thing is, the game moves on. The way you keep old content relevant is by things like Random Dungeon Finder. Because like for me personally, if I was like, oh, I'm a retail player, I don't like the look of Dragonflight, I want to go and play Wrath. And then I get to like level 15, 16. I want to try and find a group for Dead Mines. I can't even find a group for Dead Mines. I don't know. Am I gone?
No,
do I carry on?
It's a very good point, and I'll concede that necessity will push certain things into, you know, unattainability, and I get that. And I guess maybe I'm just being idealistic, and like the warm, comfy fun that was leveling in Elwyn Forest, leveling in Westfall, all that stuff, and how when you just I leveled a little bit on Warmane, right, and I just zipped from RFC to SFK and then I was like done, and like and I didn't like it. Like it just felt like a chore, and so
You're being idealistic for all the right reasons. That's why I'm saying, like I said at the very start of this, you are 100% right. Like I 100% agree with everything you've said.
But it's just not.
But
it's not reasonable now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's not how it works. It's not how we can keep it, because while there's always an easier way, whether that's being boosted or whether that's ignoring dungeons altogether, they just don't get done. I mean, well, I'll ask all of you, and I'd like to put money on it, but I'm worried because Sarthe's a bit weird. He's probably been doing it all day. When was the last time any of you went to Black Fathom Deeps? Have any of you been there in the last month?
No. It was a long time ago.
Warmane.
Hardcore challenge.
To get buffs. Hardcore challenge, yeah.
Hardcore I did.
Yeah, hardcore or world buffs. Or to get the world buffs back in Classic on a mage.
The world
if you're min-maxing super hard 15 frost damage.
But it's a great dungeon. It's a great dungeon, but it's in the fucking arse end of nowhere for every class, like every race other than a night elf. So no one bothers going there. But if you had random dungeon finder, you would get to see Black Fathom Deeps.
That's true. But you would never see the run out on the beach and the down to the thing and like that whole and that sets the stage for what the dungeon is, and I love that shit. And I think you're right, and I think I'm right, and
I
don't know if there's an answer.
We
just burn it all down. Wow, let's go.
Well, what I would do, personally, is just always have random dungeon finder available for the previous expansion. That's it. So start it now in Wrath, but it's only available up to TBC. And then when Kata comes out, it's now available up to Wrath. So it's always an expansion behind.
Yeah.
I think that then at least it makes the leveling experience easier to go and get these dungeons that you might not see. Because again, if Kata comes out, the odds of you going to Utgard Keep are fucking slim.
Or even the last patch when you're just like, okay, I'm gonna level this now for the next thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like that. I just think would please the majority of people.
Am I the only one who doesn't care?
We solved it.
Yes, Craig.
I think I'm the only one that literally does not care. I just am happy that the game's coming out and they're giving us something that's not the LFG bulletin board and we can play the game.
But it is the LFG bulletin board.
I mean, that's what I'm using.
It is exactly that, but with pretty little graphics.
I don't think you guys are using it enough or something, because that shit is clean as shit. When I use,
wait
it's
until more people have access.
Yeah, maybe I'm coped out. I don't know.
Just wait until more people are on the server, right? That's like, I think you're.
Why though? What's that going to change?
Is going to
open my eyes.
The postings are not going to be all real postings. There's going to be thousands of postings to go through, right?
Of course.
It's going to be like we're going to need some sort of like in-game filtration system, which I would wager they're working on, because they're going to realize it very quick as like we get more people in the beta.
Yeah.
I just see, I don't know. Maybe I'm.
Do you play retail stuff? Because it sounds like you play retail.
Yeah, I play retail.
So you see
and
the retail
Plus is my
where
favorite
people are selling it.
I'll be right back.
Yep.
There's add-ons. I don't know who can do it, but there's something that can be made to filter, like you said.
There are add-ons already, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or like keyword searches or whatever.
So there are add-ons. I just think I know that everything possible to be abused and min-max in the shortest way possible will really happen. And I mean, we're all kind of proponents of making that happen, right? Like we literally, me and you, Craigs, Jordy too, make videos on super min-maxing things. Scotty's got all these videos on all of the best like farms and XP farms too. Like we're all like path of least resistance. So, but that's how the game is played now, right? That's how the game is played. And there's just going to be so many like boosts, sales, everything is going to be on there. You're going to be able to filter it out. We're going to figure out a way, but I just think it is LFG bulletin board in the grand scheme. Like LFG bulletin board was great at the beginning of the expansion, right? So grand scheme.
No, but it's better than looking at the thing. Yeah, it's not great. It's just better than looking at the in-game LFG thing.
Was super helpful at the beginning.
It's way better than that. Yeah,
TBC, I think.
It's still helpful. You just filter out the things.
Yes. Okay, but like filter out what Sunwell
Trade.
Plateau. Yeah, filter out boosts, GDKP, and hard res, because all of those are just right. Like realistically, are all going to happen, and it's going to be it's hard and unfortunate when a lot of the content is, as Scotty said, realistically super easy, right? Heroics are easy. So I think, I mean, I'm optimistic in the sense that like I want them to add, like they mentioned, keeping heroics relevant all the way through, and I would love there to be some sort of like challenges or like speed things, but I'm just a shill for speed. So
well, that's what we're talking about next, is the heroic difficulty when Jordan gets back.
And that's not going to change. You know, like they need to start off by changing the initial difficulty straight away. You know, before even worrying about anything else, because otherwise it's never going to get difficult. You know, it's not going to be like you said, Sarthe, you love Mythic Plus. You know, it's never going to be at that sort of level, is it? It's just going to add, I don't know, 10% damage and health each phase, which, you know, by the time we got to phase 5, we could do that in phase 1 anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I don't see him doing anything like overly difficult. But like, I completely agree with you, Sarthe. Anyway, I do see the retail tool as just it's probably where the people who made LFG Bulletin Board got their inspiration from. They couldn't remake the UI and make it look that tidy, but ultimately it does do the same thing. But again, I do also agree with Crix on the basis that, like, yeah, I don't really care. You know, if Random Dungeon Finder's not in, it's not in. It will ruin my experience quite a bit when it comes to leveling alts. But that's it.
It sucks because it is very, very, very convenient. But I mean, I'm going to play the game. I'm going to have a blast. I'm vibing no matter what. You know what I mean? They're going to give us some. Their mindset. Do whatever, you know? I feel like people stress. A lot of people are, not saying you guys obviously, but a lot of people are stressing about this game. I mean, we have our own stress, how we need to stress, but stressing over things that you don't need to stress about. Your stress is misplaced. You know what I mean? I feel like in some aspects, but maybe it's just because I just don't care about much, and I'm always having a good time. I don't know. Maybe it's the stoner inside of me. I have no idea, boys. But I want to talk about the.
We'll be playing Dragonflight soon. Don't worry about it. This will be a Dragonflight stream in a couple of weeks.
I want to talk about the heroic difficulty, which we all know is easy, and you guys are much better at talking about it than me. So go ahead. I'll just say it's easy. It's way too easy. We already knew it was going to be easy. It's supposed to be easy. I'm not dogging it. I'm not dogging it, by the way, before I get flamed for being too fucking sweaty. It's supposed to be easy. They talked about changing it. We can talk about what you think they could add to change it. I don't think they're going to do some Mythic Plus thing. I don't know what they can do besides just tuning it all. But it feels, and a good comparison that I've been telling people is on Warmain, which is the current server. If you say that a 10 out of rank, a 1 out of 10, if a heroic is a 10 difficulty, these are like 5s. This is like a 5, 6.
So
all
just
of these
half as challenging.
Exactly. Yeah, I guess I could have just said that. Yeah, my bad.
They
are
so easy on Warmain though.
Yeah,
right.
That's what I'm saying. But Warmain, you can get clapped out, and they didn't really tune them that crazy, right?
Do you have an 80 yet, Sarthe?
No, I just lurk, dude. I'm watching all you guys pretty hard. And going through log channels.
I was just checking. I wasn't trying to insinuate anything.
Yeah, Warmain has increased difficulty.
We open
real quick,
with
I wasn't trying to compare
every conversation.
I know that's a private server.
Right.
I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying people are asking of what the difficulty. That's how I'm trying to compare the difference of it. Because these are like, they feel like normals, less than normals. It's crazy. We're at level 76 full group clearing heroics.
Yeah.
77 full group clearing heroics. Couple dead, couple deaths, but like, you know, it's crazy.
Interestingly, I think that Burning Crusade heroics were tuned over, like random mobs were overtuned, where like you would just get clapped. You could go into there right now and randomly get clapped, right? That makes no sense. I'm the biggest shill for like the idea of like maybe like Legion's was it Legion? Maybe it was Miss Pandaria's challenge modes. Like add something that adds a flair. Add something that has some sort of relative leaderboard. It doesn't even have to be like a Blizzard sponsored leaderboard. But then if there's any sort of like ranking system in something, then there's always going to be a group or a subsection of the game that loves to do it. There's always going to be people that figure out ways to min max it. I obviously love Mythic Plus because it's literally a 5-man speed run, and I love speed runs. So I would love for them to add something like that. I don't see that happening, obviously, and I don't like the idea of you having to run harder dungeons to get better gear, because I know that classic players don't like that as much. So I'm totally for not adding like, oh, if you didn't get your ×10 key done this week, you're not going to get all your gear. Like, I don't like that. Feels like a forced thing, right? It feels like more of a job thing. For me, it was always like, oh, can I get like +25 keys done? how fast can I get all of my like highest, how high can I push? And that was only as a personal challenge, right? And I really love that. I think it would add the sense of dungeons are always going to be relatively useful all the way through, instead of like something you blast through for literally 11 days and you have all of your badges, something like that, and you're like 6 days and you're never entering a heroic again on that character. You're literally like, maybe to help my friends, but like
I mean, gold challenge modes were awesome.
Yeah, right?
Challenge modes would be so cool. Speed runs would be so cool. All that would be so cool. Like,
I don't know how they would do anything to change. I know they talked about it, but I don't know how they would do anything to change it without doing too much work on it, right? But it'd be. I think it can't be that hard.
One heroic stays relevant forever, isn't it? At the end of the day, your first heroic of the day, that's going to be relevant for the entirety of Wrath. But yeah, you've got no reason to do more than one.
I think I think it has to be an option to make it harder, like because not everybody's won it. Yeah, so it's good. Like they could tag it with a mythic or tag it with something. Yeah, I think they definitely should, because I mean at the end of the day you are just spamming heroics for badges and who wants to struggle in there, I guess. But I mean, hey, if we can make whole content games, everything out of them if they put a little bit of difficulty on it, right? Obviously going so far as with the timer and the fixes and all that, you know what I mean? You what?
They could do Valor level difficulty heroics. So you've got obviously your normal heroics that you do. They give your emblems of heroism, but then you know, come phase 2, they make Valor level difficulty. So yeah, you can do your normal heroics that just give that, but you know, if you want to get the highest tier of emblem, then you have to do it on the highest tier of difficulty, and they could go fucking nuts with it. Like they literally could go nuts with it, where it's like, yeah, it's fucking 5 times as hard. Like, whatever, you know, it's just whoever can get through it can get through it. Yes, there are now advantages there, but as long as you couldn't get all your gear in a day, you know, as long as there was some sort of limit to it.
I'll be that dude, that private server guy. On Warmane, they have one. I think this would be a brilliant idea. I'm just going to say it just in case they don't know about it. Once a week, only one dungeon. They chose one TBC dungeon. It was like, it'd be like a mythic slate pins or whatever. Right, and you can only do it once a week, and it gave you 5 of each badge, 5 emblems. I mean, 5 of each emblem, right?
Yeah.
And it was ridiculously hard. It was the hardest content, objectively, the harder content on the server. You could not CC anything. Only certain mobs could get rooted, and you had to figure out which ones it was. I remember one of them was a Steam Vault mythic, and it took us, a million hours to do it. Now, obviously, this is not something I'm saying they're doing, but that was something like that would be cool. I would do that. Just one hard-ass dungeon weekly that you can do, like an actual struggle bus dungeon.
They could throw in like classic dungeons too. I mean, that's a really cool idea. I did those on Warmane, but I never thought about them doing that here, and I think that's a really cool idea, awesome concept.
I think Blizzard can take a lot of ideas from private servers, to be honest. I'm not going to name them all, but there's quite a few things that they could just steal from, just random things like that. That'd be pretty cool, right? I think.
But they've also got a lot of ideas of their own, and this is the thing, like there are systems that they can borrow from retail and future expansions, which doesn't hurt what we're playing now. You know, it doesn't hurt it from a progression sort of sense. It doesn't hurt it from a gearing or a speed running sense. You know, things where it's there. Like gold challenge mode is a prime example. Like obviously you brought up Sarthe, because it didn't give any reward that gave any power. You got a full transmog set and a mount. Oh, and a title. You know, it was all shit that you didn't need, but you've done it just so you could be the guy that's done it. Yeah, you know, like, and that's why I still only play 3 classes on retail, because I only play the 3 classes that got the gold challenge mode sets, just because you can't get them anymore. So you know, like I still cherish them to this day. But it goes a long way. And if they was to do it maybe in seasons, where they did, again, taking a bit of what everyone said, where you was to go, right, Black Fathom Deeps, Scarlet Monastery, Ramparts, Shadow Labs, and then Utgard Keep. You know, they're like that's this season's gold challenge modes. You could almost have 5 dungeons each phase where you can get a chance at getting the gold challenge mode title, if you know what I mean. So it's a way. Like, I'm a big believer of keeping old content alive, and I think Geordie is as well. You know, obviously
absolutely.
Yeah. So any way where you can keep the existing content actually going, for me is a bonus, and they should know that, because we've gone into Outland, and most of Old Azeroth is dead. We're now going into Northrend. Now Outland's dead.
I mean, look
It's
at
like,
Classic.
how do we keep it going?
It's literally keeping old content alive. You know what I mean? Like, we all clearly like it. We're doing it again. Like, just keep it going.
I think Blizzard knows that. Remember, like, the plateau of subs was Lich King, right? And then it went down ever since then, right? The old days.
You say they know that, but I mean, there's the "you think you do, but you don't" line. You know, that we all have seared into our Fury memories, and like, I don't know if they do.
Yeah. I think they have an option to keep it, to make after, if this makes sense, the end and after Lich King better than it was in the original Lich King. That makes sense. There's a lot of retail players coming back too.
Or there's the Riot MMO, or the Ashes of Creation. You know what I mean? Like, that's the doom looming for them, that they need to figure out what the plan is. So,
but also apparently, I was on the Classic Reloaded podcast last week. So shout out to Blaze and Bob. He told me that Blizzard just hired 100 people, or acquired from a company acquisition 100 people to go into the World of Warcraft team, which could send even just a couple of them could have this idea. Obviously they would need devs to build things out quickly, but if they have like any sort of like touch or contact with the community about it, they can kind of feel things out. They're at least relatively trying to listen, right? And do
you guys ever feel like an abused spouse that's like like constantly being gaslit? Like, I'll be different this time, and then
I promise.
And then like, you know, it's like, it's just I don't know. Sometimes it's just awful.
Yeah,
it's a lot of people have said about OSRS. I don't know if any of you have played old school RuneScape, but it's like that. I've had so many different people saying like, "Oh, you should make a video." You know, like if WoW Classic was more like old school RuneScape. And while I get that, you know, like they're giving what the majority of the community want. You've seen how split we are on something as simple as random dungeon finding.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how we'd be if? Well, they poll it.
Oh, they voted on everything.
Oh yeah, community based, and if it's got to be over like 66% or 70%, whatever it is, you know, and it will be like, right, we're thinking about adding this content. So they'd say to us now, like, I don't know, at the end of Wrath, do we release Kata, or do we start releasing Kata raids but tuned to level 80? And then whatever the vote is, you know, that's what they do, which is cool.
Do you see the big problem with that though?
Streamers. Well, my problem with
streamers
with
in
it
their community.
Forcing. Well, not forcing votes.
That's an Osmond Gold, and hey guys,
one
I want this to happen.
Could change the entire thing.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you know, all stay safe and all those people. I want this to happen. You know, Joker.
Well, the one benefit to that is like, you know, you said you wanted it, we gave it to you. Now you can't be mad at us because that's what you said you wanted. You know what I mean? And so, like, for them, I understand why that might look nice because they lose a bit of culpability there. But on the other hand, like, there's a lot of things. I mean, this is a dumb example, but like, look at the iPhone. Like, no one ever thought they wanted that, and there it is, and now it's the greatest thing in the world. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot.
You're literally saying what I was just about to say. I was going to say, but the thing is, with me personally, like, I am a bit of a hypocrite because I'll be like, no, I don't want that, and then when they do it, I'll be like, actually, this is pretty good.
Exactly.
It's just how it is.
When your wife tells you something's good, you're like, I'm not going to like it, and then you eat it. You're like, oh shit.
Exactly.
That was good. Okay.
Now get that finger out and don't tell my mates. But no, it's but a prime example is when I started on Mistblade. So everyone was saying go and play on Mistblade, which is a mop server, by the way. And I was like, fucking mop. Like, I'm gonna go and play on a mop server. Man, so I had to make a conscious decision to uninstall it because I was like, that's it. Like, that's I will not be making Wrath videos anymore. Like, I had to just curb myself and say, stop fucking playing mop, or this could go terribly wrong. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. You know, and I was taking the piss out of the people who was telling me to play it. I mean, obviously I played mop back in the day, but it's not one of those expansions that I remember as being particularly good. You know, it was all right. You know, I remember it being all right. But then when I actually started playing it, I was like, fuck me, this is actually really good. So that's why I'm not jumping on the bandwagon of like, no, we don't want Kata. Because I don't know. But maybe I do want Kata.
Yeah.
Until I actually play it, I don't know.
Yeah, they make good points. Well, I went down when Blizz actually started listening to all the players-based ideas back in the day, and then now retail's like this.
I mean, no, they just try to make everything, well, in my head, and this is a based opinion, is they try to make everything more convenient, right? Like everything easier. And that was the thing, like, right? We obviously need, like we were mentioning earlier, to like kind of curb ourselves or limit ourselves from being able to do things. But there's things that we've always wanted in the game that in like Classic that we remember fondly not being able to do this thing. And then we're like, but like, what was the point of not being able to summon people with summoning stones? Yeah. It's like a random example. Like, it's cool that everyone had to run there in original vanilla. And in Classic too, I enjoyed it realistically, right? But like, but what was, I mean, that's just like fighting for like, let me just like add time to everything you do. And that was like part of a magic part of like Classic was like, if I want to do anything, it's gonna take me like 10 minutes just to get there. It's like moving through a whole world. And we are reaching the point of that's not necessarily the same thing, but there's some things I think they have, like Scotty was saying, there's some really good ideas they have that like were generally really liked by the masses, I guess. They had really good feedback from, I guess, would be the way of saying it. And I think they should try to utilize those as much as they can. Not maybe too much, right? Obviously, but like maybe not be aggressively resistant to adding things that might enhance the overall healthiness of the world and the game, if it's for that basis.
So where does retail meet Classic? Like, a genuine question. Like what do you think? You know, on the basis that, like, me personally, it's gonna be such an unpopular opinion. I'm glad I'm not on my own stream. You know, I really like the look of Dragonflight. No, I genuinely do. But taking away the Drakthir, because I think that looks fucking ridiculous. But actually, their design philosophy behind what they look like, what they're doing with Dragonflight, which is, it's as if they've seen Classic doing quite well and they've been like, oh, they like talent trees. Oh, they don't like borrowed power. Oh, they do like professions actually being useful. You know, it's as if all of a sudden something's dawned on them where they're like, we done it right before. Why have we changed it in the first place? Yeah, so it's like finally the pennies dropped. So if that starts to become more Classic-like, but not, it's still going to have better graphics, better, you know, probably harder boss fights. You know, it's more interesting because it's new, and you have to actually learn the fights rather than playing it on for private servers for fucking 3 years before the game actually comes out. Like, where does Classic then become new? It's weird hard to explain. Do you know what I mean? Where does it then become where Classic is actually worse than retail? There's got to be like that collision point.
There definitely is. I don't know where it would meet and you'd not like it as much anymore. Because I mean, Classic, like vanilla is such a unique world that like we've already moved so far away from that.
Jordy, what do you have to say about it? Let me see what Jordy says. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just want to clarify. You're saying Classic is great, and then at some point it goes down, and now it's back up again, and you're trying to find the point right there where it okay.
Yeah, the point where so the point where Classic continues on. So let's pretend Classic is going to go through all of the iterations of WoW. You know, WoW is now at the point of Dragonflight where they're looking back at Classic and more or less going backwards. So, you know, there's going to be a point where Classic gets to a point where it's like, well, I don't want to play Classic anymore. I'm going to go to retail because now retail is actually the more what we want. You know, retail could essentially at some point become what we want as Classic players now.
I'm not sure that there is one point. I think that all the systems, I think it's a moving platform, and from what I hear, I mean, I didn't play retail. I quit in the middle of, or the beginning of Wrath. Like, this is all kind of new to me, but like, I think that you would have a different answer from everybody. Some people are saying Kata, some are saying, you know, Legion was amazing and that BFA was the beginning of the end, and the last two have been a disaster. I think it just depends on what you're looking for, but I'm not sure that there is one answer. And
do you ever see yourself playing retail, or do you think like you're just classic now?
I hopped on retail at the beginning of Shadowlands and leveled to 60, and it was just I felt like an old man in an amusement park, and everyone was moving very fast around me, and I couldn't get what I was trying to get, you know what I mean? And I just couldn't do it. And then I got back on Classic, and I was like, oh, blanket me in this warm feeling of understanding. And like over time, maybe like as they introduce systems in Classic, I might understand retail better, because like I couldn't wrap my head around keys and how the fuck does this work? Like there were so many things where I just like didn't understand, and it's just like it felt like shit. Like I was like, this is my game, I should know how to do this, and I can't do this, and fuck this, I'm going back. Like I'm not doing this. And it was, yeah, exactly, Chris. And it sucked. It sucked. But there I think there are legitimate reasons why I felt like that, and some of them were because the game is more of an action RPG in retail than it feels like a MMO in Classic. You know what I mean? And I think that that's the kind of this is the kind of game that I'm wanting versus the action RPG that retail feels like a lot of the time. Like you go watch a raid at retail and they're zoomed all the way out. You might as well be playing Diablo. Like it's all top down, and there's and in Classic it's not like that. I don't know.
You're not honestly, zoomed out all the way? You summed it up. You summed it up 100%, because that's exactly. So I've been talking to my brother. My brother's 40.
You guys are such dicks, I swear to God. Sorry.
Something like that. But yeah, he's he's in his mid to late 40s, and he the reason he don't like retail is because of like it's fucking so fast paced and everything. And I've been on there a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. I've been playing a fair bit of retail, but it is a refreshing change. It's like I agree with him 100%. It is what you said. It's an action RPG. It's not really an MMO anymore. It is an MMO because there's lots of people playing it, but it is more like everything's so fast paced. Mana don't matter. I started leveling a priest. And I I don't know what the point of that blue bar was, because it never moved. So it is just, but it is still fun. Like retail is still fun, but the fun don't actually start till max level. That's the problem. It's like
for sure
that. Whereas the fun actually for Classic is, well, I say fun. Like I fucking hate leveling, but that is still it's the challenge. The challenge of Classic is the leveling. Whereas there is no challenge in leveling in retail. It's more just, fast-paced action combat. Like, just keeps you going, feels entertaining.
We tuned in the Tally, maybe, I don't know how much longer after Alpha started, and he was 65.
I saw that.
Leveling's always super fast.
Absolutely love retail. I'm going to play retail and play both. I'm not going to make content on it, though. It's just going to be like a side, end of the day thing. I've already started working on my character. I'm not with the dragon thing. I'm just going to play a warlock because, why change? I don't think it's an ARPG feeling. I just think that you guys don't play retail. And coming from someone who's played retail forever, I feel like it's just a new MMO. It's a newer MMO.
Bro,
you don't have to play. You don't have to play zoomed out MMO. Yes, you do, because it's better to see mechanics in a raid, because there's so many more mechanics that you have to actually see a bird's eye view, kind of like you with the end of phase of Murray, where you're having everybody go, hey, look up, just like that. The problem is retail has a shitload of mechanics like that, right? So less.
But I agree with you guys. Is a lot higher, isn't it, Chris? As in that's what I mean by action game. The APM is a lot higher. Like you're constantly, like if you're not doing something. So imagine being a healer in Classic. If you're a healer, if you can put out a little bit of damage, that's nice. In Classic, that is. But in retail, you're almost expected, to be able to out DPS a DPS while healing. That's how it works.
That's, for me, as I was talking about earlier, like Mythic Plus, it's literally like all challenging. And there's like, once you get to the higher keys, if you get hit by one mechanic, which there's literally probably like 10 different things happening at once, say you have like volcanoes and explosions, you're literally like every 2 seconds or every other second moving in between like this like wave of little mechanics popping up. If you get hit by one, you die. And like, if you're the tank, that's like the most crucial. You also have to make sure that none of the important mobs are getting either a cast off or hitting you with like a certain debuff, and you're rotating like group cooldowns. It's very, very fast paced, and I love it. But I think there's a different version of a skill cap between the two, because like the skill cap in classic and speedrunning is like minimal mistakes can add up, or like someone makes a mistake and it hurts the whole raid or something. And then in Mythic Plus is that like small version where you just like really like everything is super fine tuned. You even like when you're in the really high keys, you map out the entire dungeon beforehand and share your map with everybody, so they know exactly what pulls you're doing, right? They know exactly what pulls, how quickly you're doing, and you've also said where we're using which CDs.
Yeah, that's just cool.
Yeah, I like the challenge. I don't know. I'm a big fan, and I like anything competitive always.
Oh, I just like World of Warcraft, bro. I've been playing this game too long. It's kept me in and out of dark places, man. I just want to play it until the fucking wheels fall off, dog. That's it.
Yeah,
I'm trying to play this shit till Blizzard says, you know what, we're just shutting WoW down, bro. You know what I mean? And I just hope the game's gonna be good. And we argue about it all the time, but we don't got a choice. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
we're not gonna play anything else. So when's
asking about Hunter? If you want to talk about Hunter a little bit.
Hunter?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Hunter and Wrath is so much. I think it's going to be so much better than what everyone's anticipated because of how strong their AoE is. Their AoE is just so insane. I think if played right, their overall damage, Hunter on Wrath, is like way stronger than even I saw it on like the Blizz-like realms, right? It's going to be so fun. Like single target DPS right now is crazy, and you're usually not having full debuffs. So I think in pre-patch you're going to see Hunter like giga pump, like I don't know, 5-6k DPS maybe. No, that's jumping the gun. 5k DPS maybe. The only thing that sucks is they stopped melee weaving, which is really lame, because that was a really high skill cap play style. Although realistically 90-ish plus, I would say 95+% of the top people in Warcraft logs are using a script on their mouse that does the entire actions for them.
I think it's a good thing to take melee
Blizzard could detect it. I wish Blizzard could just detect that and leave people in, the people that have that skill gap to just do the melee weaving. Because you trap weave, you would melee weave, and you would also change your aspects to aspect of the beast, I think it is. You get extra melee attack power. So when you hit with that, and that's off of GCD, and then you're moving back and casting again and getting back into aspect of the Dragonhawk, like all of that really adds like another level of skill, and it would really bring Hunter's single target DPS up pretty significantly. If they didn't take that out, I think Hunters could easily be like Giga S tier, because their overall damage is so high, and their single target would be fucking way crazier than we've ever seen on other realms. But yeah, they took that out.
Did you play Wrath back in the day?
I did.
Okay. Can I ask you a question about Hunter? Baby. We have a guy who really loves to just parse. He's just like parse brain, doesn't love doing mechanics, and he plays Hunter. And so we've been trying to push him towards like Rogue or Frosty K and set up Hunter for Wrath, because from our understanding, Hunters are going to be doing a lot of like mechanics and misdirecting and a lot of the moving around and doing the things that like a rogue doesn't do. A rogue can just stand there and parse. Is that true? Or
I would ask maybe Scotty and Crick some more. Realistically, like misdirect's a 30-second cooldown. So before you do your AoE stuff, like your trap and your volley and stuff, like you're misdirecting, and then like if you are marksman,
I'm not talking about myself.
You can also like you can reset all of your misdirects too. So I don't know why I'm readiness. Sorry, you can readiness and do it all again. As for realistic mechanics through bosses, I mean, there are times I think where Hunters are dealing with things, but like not too much more so than other classes. And Crix and Scotty, you guys have played way more recently the later raids in Wrath.
It's a lot later down the line, expansion wise, where Hunters start actually dealing with mechanics.
Really?
As in there's the odd thing you'll do in Wrath. Like, let me just think off the top of my head. Gloof kiting ads, but you could have a mage kite the ads. But and
Yeah.
ultimately, you probably won't even need to kite the ads. You'll just nuke the boss.
Well, okay, so there's like Algalon, right, where the hunter does something, or Yogg, where the hunter does something, stuff like that.
But
is it your only hunter?
No, you're not even really. I mean, Algalon. If you've got Shadow Priests, you don't really even need hunters doing anything.
Okay.
There's like going even further forward, going in and putting traps down on Deathbringer Sarthe in ICC, for example. But none of it's like a DPS loss where it would be irritating to do, because it's just what you do in the fight. You know, it's not. It's not as big of a deal as later expansions. I'm trying to think in later expansions, like dealing with a conveyor belt on like Black Fuse. Is that WAD? I can't remember which one it is. You know, like there's nothing where it's like, right, we need a hunter to do this.
Okay.
You can get other people to do it.
Cool. Then I'll tell them the hunter's fine.
And if you want to show like some DPS actually, Crix, if you skip forward to the Nexus in this VOD, I went to Nexus and the new spec, and like you're just like doing 10k DPS on multiple pulls. You're just
Did you drop all your ARP?
No, I didn't.
You just went in.
What spec are you?
So I have this dungeon crawling spec that I've theory crafted, and it's so strong because I've checked all of the different specs. And it's a marksman survival spec where you increase your DPS of volley is a very like large part of it, and then increasing your DPS of your explosive traps, and like you do so much on overall damage from logs, right? Like if you're looking at just, we were talking about it earlier, right? Recount, I think recount only tracks your current, like your own characters in combat damage. So like on overall throughout these dungeons, I was at like 4.2k overall DPS on these dungeons, which is just like absolutely insane, right? But on logs, you can get around 3,000 overall DPS throughout dungeons as a hunter if you're playing it well, which means a lot of Viper Sting too that people don't min max on really well, because your mana is extremely bad, right? I think this is the very first pull we did with as
have
this
you
team,
came anywhere close to Thor at all yet?
Like
replacing
what do you mean?
it? Like anywhere close to...
Not yet. No. I mean I haven't even really looked. My hunter's 72. I've been
yeah. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, I wasn't leveling the hunter. But like it's so fun to play, and your overall damage is so high realistically, and your single target is really powerful. I think if you play it well, it realistically is also easy, because volley is like a chain ability where you just press it and let it do its thing.
How's your mana? You're gonna be pretty bad.
Yeah.
Are you in Viper a lot?
But yeah, so you Viper a lot. So you Viper and Chimera Sting as you run into a pack, like almost always. And it's actually something I wasn't doing, and I was complaining about my mana, and I was like chain popping fell manas, and I was like, this is so unviable. It was such a wrong way of playing, and for overall damage. And then Alondo actually came in and mentioned to me that I should be tossing a Viper on a big target as I run into the pack, because you can't start AoEing early or you'll over aggro. You have to MD basically every time you're going to do a big pull. And it is just so strong, so incredibly strong, I think. And also hunters can always bring things into the group. If you have a good hunter, I think it's going to make entire raids a lot faster. I don't think it's hunter copium at all, Snap. I mean, I'm not even maining hunter, and that pack in the background doesn't take full damage, so it's a lame pack anyways. But I think it's
a lot of numbers, dude.
Yeah, you see that? It's very chill, right?
Yeah.
Hunters are, I've yet to run into another hunter doing nearly the damage yet, but I think as this like play style gets popularized, I think it's really gonna jump forward.
So you were obviously surprised that you're doing this much damage, even though a couple of us have told you Hunter's Pomp. Are your spirits lifted now? Are you gonna play? Are you like gonna alt it? Are you like more happy? Like were you not maining one at first because you're kind of worried about the damage, right? And now you've seen the damage. Or are you kind of like?
I always loved Rogue, like forever, right? Like I peaked out at rank 1 Rogue World in like Nax and AQ, and then I want to go back to playing Rogue, but also Death Knight was always like my favorite. So those are generally like, I couldn't play Rogue. Realistically, I couldn't play Rogue in a top guild early phases in TBC. And then Hunter playstyle in TBC is really, really fun with melee weaving. It's yeah, Jayru. It's really fun with melee weaving. So I think I might because I think a really good Hunter, and it's realistically a really easy playstyle. You just need to realize how to do it well, can just do crazy, crazy damage overall throughout a raid. But also Frost DK is like, oh, love.
So that's like a perfect segue. Is you and Jordy both are playing with some DKs. What are you guys? I know you're not 80 yet on them, but how are you guys feeling on it? What's it feeling like?
It's so strong for having no
like the
gear.
Frost, the Unholy, the dual wield, the 2 arms. Like, what have you? I know you've tried them all. So like, what do you like? Like, speak on it. Ventum.
Jordy, you want to go first?
Go for it.
Okay. I love it. Frost feels like you're like a warrior back in Nax with full world buffs. You're moving really fast. Your abilities are all happening really fast. You have a lot more utility though with like grips and such. We still don't have Howling Blast procs like I was saying, so that's going to greatly increase your overall DPS. But like in a fast run, if things die fast, we have to see how scripting is for Nax. If trash dies fast, Frost is going to be unbelievable, because getting a huge Howling Blast that literally crits on every pull on like a huge pack, which almost kills everything, is so much overall damage, where there's other classes that need to ramp up. Like say Unholy needs to ramp up. Maybe Warlock also would blow things up, and obviously Boomy would blow things up, and Hunter. So like these classes I think are really going to excel like crazily. And I think Unholy also, I've been playing a lot of Unholy. It's such a beautiful place. It's really, really fun. Dual wield Unholy I can't really utilize yet since I'm not 80. So I think dual wield Unholy will probably be the meta. I really like it, and shout out to White Wolf, who's doing a lot of the content on it and theory crafting there. So he's amazing. Yeah, I'm loving DK. It's such a fun class.
There you have it, Jordy.
Yeah, I'm only 72. I'm barely dipping my toes into it, but it's a blast. The thing that I'm really finding interesting is just the sustain is just like, it's like a warrior, you have to occasionally sit and drink or sit and eat. A DK, you're just death striking and moving on, and there's no downtime, and it does kind of feel like that classic Fury Warrior archetype, which I mean, I don't know if you guys have played that, but I don't know if you guys have. Definitely the most fun I've had on this game is Nax, fully world buff, geared to the teeth, Fury Warrior. You're driving around in a Lamborghini.
You're a god,
and it's unbelievable. But you're literally like driving the Alps, so you're just like at any moment you could fall off a cliff. In a DK, you're a tank. Like it's just like it's insane. And we'll see what 80 feels like. I think that things become much more balanced at 80. Like the fact that I'm beating a fully bis warrior on my DK is dumb. But we'll see what happens. It's a lot of fun. And I'm not looking forward to the DK starting zone on day 1 of pre-patch. That's going to be a 12-hour endeavor just to get through that thing.
It's going to be so bad.
No, thank you, sir.
So what's the point of warriors now? Has anybody seen or heard of them doing anything yet?
Sit down. Warriors are
Prot warriors. Yeah, I was about to say prot warriors are fucking clapping. I had a prot warrior today. Hard carrying. Like he was pumping, bro. It was crazy. Threat, no issues at all. I was demo metas, keeping everything off me. It's pretty crazy.
There's some dungeons,
but that's in dungeons.
Insane.
Right?
All we're talking about, we can't do. Yeah, all we can really talk about is heroics, right?
That's the thing. It doesn't mean anything. Like in dungeons, they're amazing. This is not me shitting on warriors, by the way. But I'm just saying, we do need to curb enthusiasm here.
I'm not a warrior doomer. We have a lot of people trying really hard to play warrior, and I think they're going to be just fine. If remember at TBC where I was like, warriors are dead, and we made everybody re-roll, and by phase 2 they were back on top.
And you ran 1 to 2 Fury Warriors in Karazhan. Yeah, and they were because they're unreal in overall damage.
And if Shut up, Crix. If by then Warriors were good, and in Wrath people are already like Warriors will be good later in the game, I guarantee you they're gonna kick some major ass in Nax.
I think Arms will. I don't think Fury will. Arms 100%. I've been in groups on private servers where an Arms warrior has been top on overall damage, not bosses, but just over.
They're going to pump, and
it's so true.
And we'll see what happens, but
the thing is, my only caveat, because I think I've played with one warrior at low levels that was like, he's easily one of the best warriors in the world, Psycho, and he theory crafted this like dual wield arms spec with his glaives, and he was doing like crazy damage on overall, but once you get to like bigger pulls, he obviously can't keep up. But the only caveat I have is to see how they perform in raids on overall versus Frosty K, because they now have another class that does what they do but can do bigger AoE. That's my only reasoning to be kind of like questioning them. I think they're going to be way better than most people have made them out to be, for sure.
I think.
Yeah, we'll see. And a DK brings more.
Yeah. I think that they're going to be... I don't think they're going to be good early. I think they're going to be shit still, but I think they're going to be better earlier. Like, I don't think it's going to be to an ICC when they're amazing. I think they're going to already be good, like, fucking... Just not early, but, like, I don't know, into old or they start fucking clapping. But I also don't know anything about Warriors, so... You know
Did these conversations happen
in shit. My bad, dude. My bad.
Was that a thing?
Dude, I was...
Yeah, and I was the one saying they're going to be trash.
And I was hard saying they're going to be insane. I was hard saying that they were going to be crazy, because that's why I was saying, like, the only thing is now there's Frosty K, which is like in a similar vein as them, but Warriors have always just been like, they theory craft like crazy.
Isn't Shattering Throw or something a thing that's like really, really good? Whatever that thing's called.
Strong cooldown. Yeah, Shattering Throw is a strong cooldown, but obviously that benefits everyone, not just the warrior.
Yeah.
I think now we good at some point.
I'm just planting seeds, and we'll see.
I'm not sure. That's what I'm saying. I think
see what
there's
happens.
amazing players that are going to go super hard for it, and so we might, like, I wouldn't be surprised by any means if it's crazy. I just am. The only caveat is that there are now another thing that does something like them, which is the Frosty K.
That's a good point.
Early game.
Yeah, everything has to be taken in relation to the other thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it.
But most people, like the average person, they care about single target. I think I think speed running warriors may have a place. I think if you're talking single target DPS, I don't see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Like you can clip this and fucking ship it. I think warriors are going to be absolutely fucking rock bottom, absolute shitters.
One of us is wrong. I'm very excited.
Don't invite them.
Oh my God.
What about another class that I want to bring this up, because I heard Jordy talking about this too, and your perspective. Another spec that people are claiming that you don't need to bring to raid, which I disagree with, but I agree with, is Shadow Priest. You want to touch on your thoughts on a Shadow Priest and their role in a raid in comparison to some stuff I've heard? I get it asked all the time. So I want to see what someone in your...
Scotty.
Jordy.
Oh, you asking me?
Yeah. Well, we know how anybody can go with it, but I want to, because I mean, people. I mean, in terms of progress and speedrun on Shadow Priest, you really don't like need to bring one, right? People are talking about that.
In terms of progress, well, yeah. I mean, progress don't start till tier 8. I mean, we're not going to talk about progress in fucking tier 7, are we?
No.
Like no one cares about Nax or anything. You know, progress starts with all to our hard modes. In which case, yes, you absolutely need 2. Like, there's no doubt about it. Yeah, to cheese mechanics. Yeah, 100%. And that's ultimately what it's going to come down to. Like, a Shadow Priest does really, really good damage, played right.
I think they are underrated.
They're
super
I don't think they're underrated. I think most people who know that they can do well. You know, I mean, I've seen fully fucking, like, not even pre-BIS Shadow Priests out DPS people in, like, full BIS tier 7.
Yeah.
Like seriously, and Mike, Mike is Crix.
Yeah, I've seen some crazy Shadow Priests on private servers, but every time I see anybody, I don't hear anybody ever talking about them. There's none on the beta. I can't hear, and I'm just like, bro, I fucking love them, bro. Like, what?
Yeah, but their damage is good enough to not leave out of a raid, and it's the fact that you can. It's not even about cheesing mechanics. It's about approaching things in a way that makes it easier for everyone else. So if you could bring someone who does 9k DPS, but it makes that boss, harder, or you could bring someone who does 8k DPS, but that boss is fucking significantly easier, you're gonna lose 1,000 DPS in the raid the vast majority of the times to know that you're gonna do that boss with ease. Unless, like I say, you're speed running. In which case, that's a different story. If you're speed running, then it's not about cheesing mechanics. It's about getting through the mechanics so quick that most of the time you don't need to worry about them.
Yeah. How do you feel about him, Jordy? Because you made a face.
We're bringing a Shadow Priest. He's one of our oldest and best players. He is prepared to re-roll. And that's about as far as we are. That's about as far of a decision as we've made. You know what I mean? I think they're probably really good. We'll see. I totally agree with everything Scotty said. Mechanics need to happen first, and for Prague, Shadow Priests are 100% the way to go. I think on the edge cases, when you've worked the mechanics out and everything's down to a science, and you're looking for that extra little DPS to get the perfect raid comp to bring all the buffs, you may not necessarily need to bring that Shadow Priest. But that's the 99th percentile, and you'll bring a Shadow Priest every other time. And yeah, you want to bring, it's like between 2 and 3 replenishments, right, per raid. So that's a Rep Pally, that's a Shadow Priest, and the Arcane Mage, and that covers it. So
but what happens when an ICC Rep Pallies get 2-piece and can spin to win?
They're just gonna be floor POV like usual. Like there's no like they're Arcane Mage doesn't bring it. Well, it's Frost. Sorry, my bad. All right. But it's still like Rep Pallies are always dead, dude. They're always dead. I'm really scared about ICC. I really am. But we'll see. You guys have what's your Rep Pallies name again?
Survival does. We have Tails.
Okay. Tails, yeah. Tails is a giga pumper. So we'll see. But
yeah,
just bring it.
I'm prepared also to play Shadow. Like if I need to dual spec swap and we can drop to 2 healers and it doesn't make sense to use the disc or the holy, then I'll play Shadow. Every healer should be prepared to play DPS. There will be some fights where you only need 1 healer. That's a thing, and just be prepared.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe not 1, maybe 2.
Maybe 2, yeah.
Shadow Priest is really fun. I didn't expect it to be that fun in terms of leveling it. It was an absolute I was able what was it, like 400k an hour just doing a mob grind where I didn't stop for like 45 minutes or something like that, 30 minutes straight. Like the mana regen was bananas. I'm in like Karazhan and like T5 gear or something when I did it. It was
and once you get Mindseer,
so crazy. Oh, dude, and Mindseer is broken. Mindseer, it feels like the best. I haven't seen it because I'm only 78, about to be 79. I'm gonna finish it tonight. I haven't even seen it in Heroic yet, and I can't wait to see it because it's so much damage when it gets like a big pull. You know what I mean? So I'm really excited about that.
Do you have a guild set up, Scotty? Are you ready to go on Fresh? Like, what's the whole plan for you?
Yeah, we've got about 160 raiders now.
Wow.
Cool.
That was what I was
and so you guys are just going to all level in pre-patch or whenever it goes live?
Yeah, all level in pre-patch.
And then that's going to be so fun. It's going to be so fun.
Hopefully start blasting. But obviously, it's a very big community guild. It's not like,
sure.
There's no aspirations to be going world first or any shit like that. It's just a big guild, but we are going to have a fairly, what I'd like to consider, sweaty raid comp in there. But yeah, we're the guild's fucking huge. Like literally far bigger than I anticipated, if I'm honest. It looks like we're going to have 3 to 4 raid teams a week.
That's great.
If it carries on as it is now.
gonna be fun.
We
huh?
have 6, and it's a lot of work getting that organized.
I've got people that are doing it. There's no way,
Yeah.
I'm doing it. They know that already. They know there's no way I'm managing the raid teams or anything. You know, I'm marketing.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm marketing. They can deal with the raid teams. But no, we're you know, it's going to be, as I say, a more community guild. It's not. If we do well, we do well. But we've got, I'd say, somewhere in the region of 40 to 50 people that are ex-private server players, multiple people with Realm First, and everyone knows what they're doing.
How fast will the first GDKP materialize? I wonder.
Day one
in the pre-patch.
Yeah,
in the pre-patch.
And it'll be like
on fresh in the pre-patch.
500 gold for tier 6 off pieces. Like
yeah, but more than likely
there won't be a lot of gold, so it'll be interesting to see.
It'll be cheap.
What's the guild name?
It will happen.
What's your guild name?
Wipe Ink.
There you go. Wipe Ink. I should have known that. It's the same name, yeah. Duh, okay. Been that for a while. Scotty, I'm proud of you, bro. You're here. You've been, I mean, closing thoughts if anyone wants to chime in, bro. You're killing it. You're like an inspiration, bro. It's gonna be crazy how much you're spamming those videos, man. You are getting it.
Yo, congrats on 50K plus, dude. Yeah.
I know. 50 and 15 and 15 on the Twitch, and he's not even streaming all the time, man. Here's his YouTube, plugging the shit out of it. Please go check him out. If you don't know, for some reason, don't know who it is.
Stream 2 hours a week, you know. That's enough.
Wild streams are a lot of fun. It's funny. It feels like everybody. Someone said this earlier. They said everybody's YouTube side is different from their Twitch side. Like they have like a Twitch personality, and then a YouTube personality. And I'm like, I talk completely different. And then Scott here's just hammered, having a blast on his stream. I love it.
I have a question for you guys because someone posted it in chat really fast. Is what are your thoughts so far on Ret Paladins? Have you seen any really good ones? And obviously, I guess that changes the caveat because we won't know until Nax to see like real single target DPS versus overall. But how do you guys feel on Ret Paladin so far?
I've seen them. They're actually very surprising. They're like, I would put them up there on par with like Affliction in terms of leveling. If you're talking about leveling wise, they're actually doing insane. But in terms of damage, and they were doing good damage in dungeons too, I guess, but I have not seen either I haven't seen it in a heroics yet, or the Rets I've been with are horrible. So I'll find out more. I'm going to specifically try to look for a Ret to go because there's some classes we just haven't seen. Hunter. Today was the first time we saw Hunter in the groups. Like in my chat, I'm spamming heroics every day for the past week. So it's like today was the first time we saw Hunter, and we still haven't seen like a Ellie in there yet. And like although I saw Prefox this morning on Ellie, he was playing an Elemental Shaman. He's like Sunwell Elemental Shaman at 70, and he was like 8k AoE. It was like banana. It was the craziest shit I've seen almost at all classes. It was pretty exciting.
Trust me, take that Hunter again, a Tixa. He changed his
in here,
take him again, and with him doing Explosive Trap, and now he has Explosive Trap glyph. I'm curious about his spec, but take him again and watch him do so much more damage. It's gonna be sick. Yeah. But
back to Ret, I personally think Ret is gonna do fucking bonkers damage, even in tier 7. On AoE, anything where there's cleave and AoE, they will do fucking bonkers damage. I mean, I've seen Ret Paladins top Sarthe, not Sarthe, not as in beating when I mean Sartharian.
They've topped
no
me
one can
with
beat
my 3
Sarthe.
Drakes.
Yeah, no one. But Sartharian, I mean, they shouldn't be, because they shouldn't be using Seal of Command. Obviously, they should really be single targeting. But you know, if you're cheesing and cleaving pretty hard, Ret Paladins actually, if there's, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 mobs, they do a lot of damage. But they'll normally get shouted at by the raid leader because why are you fucking, why are you using Seal of Command? There's normally a priority target where you shouldn't really have Seal of Command on. Their cleave should be Consecrate. That's about it. And Divine Storm. But the damage can be, if you're cheesing, absolutely fucking mental, to be honest. And then throughout the expansion, throughout the phases, it just gets even better.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I think they're going to have a very, very solid place in speedruns. I
haven't seen one yet, or not one that I with trust, so I don't know.
That's the thing, right?
Is it not easier to talk about what you wouldn't take? You know, like in all seriousness,
true.
when you think about class, don't think about spec. Is there a class that any of you have been like, I wouldn't really want that in a raid?
I can't think of anything really off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bring everything, but
Assassination Rogue.
Assassination Rogue is like
subtlety.
Okay, I was like,
yeah, but that's
Rogues,
a spec. We're saying no class.
You
single target higher than like anything right now.
Bring all the classes,
right? Assassination Rogues, like the sims that Simon has put out on Assassin, like looks insane, like unreal insane. But that wouldn't. It depends. I'm curious what we're also going to run for like overall raids. Some things are crazy. Like Fire Mage throughout the normal like raid itself, and then like going like Arcane or whatever for the single target. It's going to be really, really interesting. I don't know if there's anything I wouldn't take yet.
Did you see in Ruggs'
not a whole class
speedrun video they were talking about bringing Ellie Shaman because
I did not watch
not bringing a Resto Shaman. So, and you want an enhance, you want at least 2 shamans or at most, and
for the totems for the range and stuff.
Well, because only bringing 1 shaman is a bit spooky if you get fucked on heroism. So it's interesting.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I still haven't watched that video. I'm very intrigued about the theory crafting of speedruns. I think it's definitely different than what we had on private server like BIS lists or tier lists, and I think that's specifically because our focus is very different than what private server tier lists are. So I really want them to release like Nax testing, and I just want to see, even without gear, because there's some classes that are crazy strong early, right, and don't scale super well with gears. Shaman is like the quintessential class to not scale as well with gear as others, right? But they can be like early on crazy. Like Spellhance is looking beautiful. Yeah, from what I've seen of vlogs.
Just Euro, shout out Just Euro. I think we should do another thing with like Just Euro and like a Esquire or something for some classes we didn't cover. We didn't talk about Mage much either.
Yeah,
Spellhance and Mage are pumping.
But with Nax being so easy, you know, obviously we're like the go-to meta, if we're going to call it a meta from private servers, is, you know, a prop paladin and a DK. Could you actually see it where actually an arms prop warrior, just for fucking pure damage, because it's like we've got 4 Geordies healing him, where he ain't gonna die, you know, having that ridiculous amounts of extra damage to the raid, because you've seen what it can do in a dungeon.
Yeah, in
a raid, it's only going to be just substantially higher, where you could actually get to the point where it's not fury tanking like back in vanilla, but almost similar.
But similar,
where it is actually
the
big dick pumpers.
Don't you still need the blood DK for buffs though?
Is that no, you can get them elsewhere.
You can
get them elsewhere.
Okay.
And then for like the big pulls, you've got that prop paladin. I think yes, I've thought about that quite a bit. I think so because that DPS from them is really high, and realistically, blood tank DPS is not ridiculous, right? So like yes, very much so. It could be viable. They're obviously insanely powerful in most dungeons. I would say most dungeons, not the dungeons where you have crazy AoE pulls. I'd say they're insanely powerful in most dungeons. I'm curious to see how it scales up against like, then what if you were like, oh, now we bring in like instead we bring in like a feral or something. It's gonna be really interesting. I think we need to test everything before we can give too much. But yes, I see there being a viability from it personally, because that's just a lot of damage. It is a lot of damage. Although Revenge doesn't necessarily scale too well. That's like
and in Re, I can't see. I'm looking on the telly and it's fucking miles away. Saying you can't get Hysteria from a blood DK, you're gonna get hit. But that's not. I don't class that as a raid buff. No, you're buffing one person. That's not a raid buff. So yeah, I meant like if you drop a blood DK, you're not losing a buff that's gonna buff everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. It'll be fun. It's definitely going to shift as the phases go on. And the nice thing about Wrath, I think, is that it's more alt friendly than ever, and so you can just level up another character and main swap. I think if the meta shifts, and you should
easily.
That's something that I've been pushing us to be much more flexible in people changing in order to meet the meta. And so, because we were pretty rigid, and it kind of bit us in the ass in TBC. So we were one of the last Prot Warrior guilds.
I know you were.
Hey,
like, yeah,
we were like fourth in phase 2 with our Prot Warriors. So
yeah, you made it work. So yeah.
Fuck you, Sarthe.
Oh my god, I was all supportive and everything. Oh, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm very intrigued. I really want raid testing. I really want raid testing.
Totally.
I think, to be honest, we didn't really talk about that either, but I think they need to worry about more bugs and getting Ice Crown and stuff open. There's still a lot of stuff they got to fix. Like that's not in the open world still. Yeah. Oh yeah. I still got that stupid mana bug right now. It's so dumb. There's so much stuff that's wrong. It's kind of like, but they are doing a good job. They are fixing things. They shut it down for 7 hours last week for a reset. It was crazy. And then yesterday was like a couple hours. Yeah, it does feel way too. I feel like it should be. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to. I don't know how to dev stuff works, but I feel like it should be more urgent, right? Like, this is you got $24 million the first like 2 days of Diablo Immortal. Let's break into that funds a little bit here and speed it up. You know what I mean?
Well, like I said, first thing I said when I joined the call was it's the worst private server I've ever played on.
Yeah.
Which is it's what it feels like. It genuinely is like. I've been on alphas of private servers that have had less problems than this.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Yeah, so I don't think they're going to do I don't, obviously, speculation. I don't think they're going to do templates anytime soon, though, because they got some shit they need to fix. But for those that didn't know, they did put add-ons in yesterday, and that was heavenly.
That was exciting.
Not everything, but we do have weak ores, which is like the crazy one that I'm shocked. Details is doing whatever, but give a ghetto recount that doesn't work right. And yeah, Questy, which is like, hello, but nobody uses that because we use RXP, right? You know what I mean? Obviously.
Yeah, I'm writing a lot of weak auras this weekend. I'm very excited.
Hit me with those DK weak auras if you would.
I'm gonna hit up Thames or Dars.
What about Dars?
An issue getting. I haven't spent enough time really is like getting my rune weak auras working correctly. So
apparently there's an issue getting it to work. The trigger's not showing up or something.
Yep. Okay, cool. Because I've only spent like an hour and a half working on it so far, but I was like, what the fuck am I doing wrong right now, man? I'm usually so good at this stuff. So I need to hit up either Dars or Thames, and Thames is on a vacation right now. So
someone asked, when's RXP going to be on the beta? My friend, it's on the beta right now. We got it yesterday. It came up.
Use code Crix Vibes for 5%.
Code any streamer. It doesn't even need to be me, but use any one of them.
Yeah.
And it's all here. It's kind of small. I don't have it big right now.
How much is it?
And it works.
I don't even know.
There's a monthly one. It's like $6 or something like that, and then it's like $30. Okay. I don't even know how much it is. But I love it.
Yeah.
It's you. So nice. I don't have the arrow up, I don't think, but you literally just follow an arrow the whole time. I don't have the new guide on there. And it's just, I don't know. I can't live without it, bro. I just put this arrow up here and I follow it straight to the point. I love it. But I started making some of the weak ores. Weak ores is like, you need them to survive. I need them. It's like, I don't know. That's like I think I missed the most. Oh, you get threat plates and plater works. And that's like, as a warlock and a shadow priest, I'm like, oh, I love it so much. It's so much better. Someone keeps asking about mages. They're doing very good. They're doing it phenomenal. They're pumping.
Mage AoE is sick.
Fire Mage AoE is okay. It's very good. I'm sorry. Yes. However, if Living Bomb doesn't get off, you're kind of half in it by a lot.
It needs to ramp.
So if you're a mage and you're looking to carry some shit and look some stuff, don't make sure you don't have a lot of AoE in there, because as a demo lock and then a Fire Mage and like a DK or whatever, good luck. You're not.
Yeah, you're never gonna hit.
Yeah, it's hard to get them off. But you still have Fire Starter and new stuff. They do it's like phenomenal AoE. You can always tell when the Living Bombs get off, because they're like you're carrying and all of a sudden they'll be like boop boop, and then mage is doubling over you. You're like, okay, cool. But their single target on Arcane has been like, if you look at Violet Hold as a metric, there's a straight single target, pretty much a single target place it's supposed to be. They're doing it phenomenal on Arcane and then single target. A lot of them are running, I think, this Frostfire Bolt spec where they're using Frostfire Bolt instead of Arcane Blast. It's doing really good too. Arcane Mage is the best. I think they're going to be one of the top DPS, depending on how much Blizzard changes the HP of it. Frost is getting memed on, but Frost actually does superb damage. It's not as good as Arcane, but it's doing more than Fire, and it is very good in dungeons.
Boom. I do want to mention really
there's a mage. Yeah, go get a mage, go in a dungeon. Whoever has a mage in the beta, go frost, deep frost, go there and play the game, and you'll have a blast. It's fun, and it does very good damage. Like, it'll surprise you. Blizzard is OP, crits now and everything, and you're just buffed the shit all the hell of it. AoE's kind of boring for both that and Arcane because you're just double flame striking and then blizzarding versus, like, you know, living bomb, you know, and then dragon and all that shit. So it's kind of fun. But either way, mage is doing extremely well. The only reason I didn't go mage because I'm going mage second in real. I'm playing all the casters in Lich King, and I'm not leveling them all because I'm not going to go blow my head out, but I'm leveling 3 of them. And I didn't want to do mage because I linked them earlier, but the Esquire's playing a mage. There's already a lot of mages that are streaming, so people can ask them questions. There's already a lot of boomies, you know, streaming that are people asking questions. There's like no Shadow Priests. There's no elemental shamans. You know what I mean? There's already a bunch of warlocks. There's like, you know, so that's why I kind of went Shadow Priest second, and I'm having a blast.
Yeah, Shadow Priest is good. I don't know a single person playing Shadow Priest on the beta.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm 78. I'm about 2 bars from 79. Literally going to finish it tonight before I get off. Oh, I have to do KJ after that, though. But it's a lot of fun, man. Boomy, too, we didn't talk about. Boomy is doing phenomenal. Graves is playing in Boomy. We did... Overall was him... Pretty much equal gear by the time we did it. Was him beating me as Demo for most of the time on overall. Because he's just doing... Hurricanes fucking... Starfall's doing major damage. It's funny to see people pull extra shit with it, though. You know what I mean? That's the funny part of the Starfall. But they're doing amazing.
Yeah,
too.
The giant range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's
what a cool
so good.
spell.
Just seeing some specs that have been mostly useless, you know, and now fucking coming into Wrath absolutely
carrying. I'm talking
like Boomy, one of them is
carrying.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, carry. I bet you get it. They're doing good, bro. That's Boomy overall. A lot of Hurricane. Obviously, you got to think about I play a Boomy and it sucks because it is Hurricane and it's very expensive. And you cast that, you get to hold still, cast it, and then if the tank moves out of it, there's your mobs. You're like, oh fuck, another Hurricane. Or if you get a Starfall off and then 60-second cooldown, and you know, you go to one more pool, and then now the tank just pulls a massive ass pool for once, and you're like, oh, I had so and so on cooldown just now. That kind of sucks. But other than that, it's a lot of fun to play too. I don't think Typhoon. Did they fix Typhoon? Typhoon wasn't knocking back. I don't know if they fixed that though.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm excited. Wrath changes so many things, and
Boomy,
also,
big Boomy, classic go. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you here. Shout out him too. Go ahead.
Yeah, Wrath changes a lot of things, and also I like the playstyle of every single class. Every class is interactive. Every class is more fun to play. And at first I was kind of bummed that we were going to be going back to Nax, but even if it's buffed, I love the idea of going into Nax with all of these new classes and seeing how fast we can do it. And I think everyone's going to enjoy going in and just like doing different things in there than they did the first time, right? Instead of running in there with 32 warriors, now we have a lot of different classes to play. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, warriors were better, but this will be fine.
Are you guys that played Nax a lot in Classic? Are you like super hyped again for Nax or what?
No.
I just think the speedrunning
not even to do it as a
so
different.
good.
I think it would be fun too. I'm super excited to speedrun that shit. But I haven't done it a million times like you guys did.
It'll be fine, but
like new classes, that's not going to spice it
Sarthe,
up for you enough.
You can't tell me. You can't. I mean,
you're healing, so it's the same thing, okay?
It's.
I'm Frosty Kane,
dude. 25 warriors. Just zugging was so much goddamn fun. I can't even tell you. And and like the fear of dying. Like if they had world buffs, I'll be all in. But the fear of dying, like that is just so juicy. And knowing that you can just run your head into a wall over and over again and it doesn't matter or matters way less is just so. The game is great. I love the game, but I don't know, man. Nax speedruns were so much fucking fun. I feel like this is going to be a watered down version.
I think if they added, which the community overall for general would probably hate, but like if Blizzard ever did do some sort of like an official realm where you can run like once a month, they held a tournament or something, and you could go in there, or even like just allow Darkmoon Fair buff in the raid, because it changes everything a little bit.
Agreed.
Hopefully, then Warcraft logs, if Warcraft logs did what they're doing with like Hysteria and stuff, and like standardizing that extra damage so it doesn't like skew. That's the only week you can parse, but that's the week you can like do the speed. And if you die,
Agreed.
you do lose that buff. And there's that risk reward factor always of like, how fast can I go? How hard can we go? And that would be obviously insanely fun for speedrunning. I think that would be huge for the community.
Yeah, I think the game lost a bit of its zhuzh when the DMF enforced speedrun season ended, and I wish that was back. It's tiring. Watching runs every week is tiring. You do it on stream all the time. I'm sure you're exhausted of it, and it's like, you know, a big part of what you do. And so it's like, I don't know.
I've loved Sunwell, but yes, Sunwell's surprised me with how much I've liked it.
Sure, yeah, but
yeah,
I mean, we're all just friends and hanging out, but Space Force,
it's crazy, dude. They are
3316 was it?
killing it. It's like, it feels like Onslaught's back, but
NA squad,
like,
bud.
it's crazy.
Yo, NA #1, let's go.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yes.
Who do you think's gonna end up with the best time?
Oh
Noda, Progress, or Space Force, or Fusion? What's up? Gang.
Not us.
Gang.
Not us. There's no way we're getting it. If we can get like a 37 or 38, I'd be happy. The fact that Space Force was able to pull off 2 runs back to back within 1 second of each other is so massively impressive. Like that they should feel super proud of that, because 1 run, okay, maybe you got lucky. 2 runs, it's like you're fucking there. You're right in the zone, and it's really cool to see. And so we'll see long term. If I were them, I would honestly be like, "Wow, we did it. We're done. We're happy." Maybe
no
not.
way,
but...
dude. Progress is coming for him. Noobs is coming for him. Noda is ready.
Noobs.
Dude,
yeah, Noobs.
Yeah.
They're
Noobs
all
they've been quiet.
Noobs doesn't have a PTR, so it's going to be harder for them to do what we've been doing. But we'll see.
It's going to be sick.
I'm linking everybody's YouTube right now, guys. This is a long episode because we were just having so much fun. I feel like there's even more we can talk about.
I'm ready for a nap.
Yeah, I'm ready to start moving. This is going to be a long night.
Good luck, Stan. Let me know when you buy those tickets.
Yeah. I will. I'll talk to
you.
I'll talk to her tonight.
Yeah.
But guys, thank you guys for being on the podcast with us, Scotty and Jordy. Like, it's always amazing having you, and like, you're absolutely amazing. Crix, thanks for reaching out and getting Scotty to come on. Always amazing. Do you guys have anything else you want to say, or a little goodbye? Plug yourselves.
Yeah, we're definitely doing a dungeon overall, like a dungeon tier list next time. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
No, I love you guys.
I'll say bye.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that was it. Bye.
I'm linking everybody. I'm linking all their Twitches right now who are in here, so you guys can go party up. Scotty, I love you.
Good seeing you guys. Scotty, good meeting you.
Yeah, no.